Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 72. Today, we're joined by Graham, Cody, Richie, myself, Luke, and some random guy that goes by the username Ibjeepin95 that we met on a forum like 10 years ago. Um, so, you want to introduce yourself?
Come on, you got to give him a better intro than that. Jesus, man.
I
You're
was
making
gonna-
the guy sound like he's homeless or something, and we were just like, we need anybody. No,
We got
he's
the
the
flat
fucking
intro.
man. He taught, he was there during the beginning of it all, bringing all these people to where they were, or where to they are now. Come on. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us why you are so great.
Okay, well, I'm not that great first off, but my name's Colton Ringgold. I'm from right outside of Harrisonburg, Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley. If you're familiar with that western part of Virginia, I've been wheeling since probably, I don't know, since I was like 16, since I could drive. Got into it mostly because I have a brother that's 10 years older than me, and he had a YJ. Had a couple YJs actually. We used to go up on the local fire trails around here and just ride around and basically just splash in mud puddles and, easy fire trail stuff. So that kind of got me hooked. And then as time progressed, I bought my first Jeep. Actually, in middle school, a friend of mine had a Cherokee, and I was like, man, those are cool. So I ended up buying one of those. 4-door 5-speed XJ was my first Jeep. Didn't do anything really cool. 31s, no lockers. Usually like slapped out 31s, nothing real cool. Didn't have a lot of money, just working at a grocery store. But then, just would hit the fire trails, hang out with friends. Things progressed. Found a place local that we started doing some wheeling at, called Crozet. I know me and Luke's talked about it before, back in the day probably. It's kind of a private park, and you had to pay to like be a member. Well, I paid to be a member. I was like 20 probably then, and had a TJ. I ended up in a TJ, which sucked. I didn't really care for it that much, and I ended up going back to an XJ later, but that kind of that's where I got bit by the bug as far as like
The TJ did it, or the
well, the TJ, the TJ didn't do it.
Okay,
It just happened to be what I
that
had
was just
at
the one.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ended up like putting a locker in the front of that. I had a Dana 35 in the rear. I did a 2-inch budget boost, an inch body, 35-inch BFG all trains, and I thought it was awesome, and would like do all kinds of wheeling at this place called Crozet. We thought we was doing some pretty gnarly stuff.
As we all
and
do
it-
until we get bigger Jeeps.
Yeah, and it was at the time like we thought it was. But we spent a lot of time over there, and things progressed from that. I ended up selling that TJ. I actually got a loan on it when I was in high school, and I was like, "This is dumb. I'm beating on something that I owe money on." And I was like, "I'm gonna sell it, buy something else." Sold it, bought a pristine, and it's hard to believe like today the way prices are, but I bought a '99 XJ, 140,000 miles, $1,600. Walked away with it. That's unreal today. I think
Yeah.
so. You can't find any no rot whatsoever.
Wow.
Welded the 8 1/4 in the back, throw the lock right in the front, slam 35s on it, and it pretty much history from there. That's where I started taking that more places, got involved with a local club that I'm now, Shenandoah Valley Four Wheelers. They've been around since like 97. So lots of people in the club that's been around a while wheeling, done all kinds of stuff, wheel all over the East Coast. Got hanging out with them, went on like 1 or 2 trips with them, and instantly ripped the axles out and put a 44 and a 8-inch in it. or eight and a half. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And or 8.25.
One of those numbers.
Yeah, eight something.
Eight.
No, I'm sorry, an 8.8. Man, it's been a long time. Ended up breaking that pretty quick, and then built a 9-inch 31 spline. So that was a pretty fun Jeep. That was my claim to internet fame, I guess, for like a hot second. I had it on Jeep Forum a lot, and that's where Luke probably found me.
Yeah, he seems to fangirl quite a bit.
I don't know why. That thing was absolute garbage, man.
Because it's Luke.
Because that absolute garbage is what spawned Richie's Jeep, Cody's Jeep, my Jeep in the early days, my black Jeep, just that low fucking slung out 35s, kind of on a budget, doing what you got to do to get it to work, and that was it was the cookie cutter, or it was the first cookie cutter, and our rigs were what followed behind it. They're all a little
you calling
different.
my Cherokee a cookie cutter?
Yes.
Gosh dang it, Luke! I thought it was unique.
It's incredibly unique, Cody. Unique to you.
It's kind of like the weird abortion twin of Luke's, so I guess I'm not that unique, to be fair.
I mean, if you followed that rig, I don't think you was cookie cutter by any means, because 35s on the low, like not still people I don't feel like do that often. I mean, in the ton world, yes, but
how much lift was on it?
So I wasn't Sam McIntyre cool, but like I was it was like 3 inches and 35s, and for a while I think I ended up bumping it up a little later.
Wait, do you know Sam McIntyre?
Yeah, we did a podcast with him.
Cody.
Oh fuck, I'm horrible with names. Sorry, Sam.
Blue J Truck guy from Truck Night in America.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah,
I keep looking at his what's his Instagram name?
Iron Fab.
Iron Fab. So that's what I've
Iron.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Iron.
Oh.
So he was like my inspiration, for real. Like his Jeep was awesome. I always stalked the internet for pictures of his Jeep. So when that time he like drove it across the country, I thought that was super badass.
We had a good conversation about that with him. That was a good fucking story.
Yeah, just blowing transfer cases.
I always thought it'd be super cool to build a Jeep and just be able to drive it anywhere and wheel it. And I did that for a long time, but then I found out tow rigs are cool. So
yup, tow rigs are where it's at.
It gets pretty taxing, especially if you continue to build them up. I'm learning that the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't you just buy a tow rig?
We haven't talked about it yet.
I still don't have a trailer though. I don't even. It's still in Miguel's yard. So
I know a guy with a trailer.
About. Who?
Cody.
Oh well, yeah. Well, because you don't wheel, so you don't need it, I guess.
Exactly. No, honestly, I'm not selling it, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, just that you're just gonna throw your space around. It's not even the trailer. I could buy a trailer, but where the fuck am I gonna put it? All right,
my house.
Well, Richie, that doesn't help me.
I'll let you store it for free.
All right. Well, we'll cut the trailer conversation and go back to the Jeep. I'll keep that one short. Okay, so that's interesting. Sam McIntyre was your
I would say.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
he had a few Jeeps as well. I'm trying to think. I know his black one was the one I remember. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and then he also had the green and the white rigs.
Yes, I think the green one was like his first one. And
and the white one was the one that he was wheeling at Rausch. God, I think it was an '08
Yeah,
on like. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I don't know what happened.
Okay. I was saying, I think it was wheeling that back in the day in like 2008 on J truck axles at
Yeah, he
Rausch
said he
on
had
37s.
J20 axles under it, and that was the one that he. Hopefully I'm not messing it up. I think that's the one that just totally folded in half.
Oh God.
No, that was the black one. The white
Oh,
one
okay.
was
I'm
the
thinking-
one that he crashed on the comp course.
Yep. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
remembering now.
Yep. And, it's kind of funny because we're sitting here and I'm talking to the guy that was my inspiration for how to build an XJ about the guy that we just talked to who was his inspiration for how to build an XJ.
It is pretty
so
fucking
cool.
cool. That is pretty fucking cool.
But like I just remember back in the day, right? Like I was cruising around and it was I forget the exact name, but it was like 99XJ.
I think it was just 99 XJ build, I think, or something.
Yeah, and then later on you added something like Lolo or something dumb about that, but it was hilarious. And so the first time I clicked the thread, there was a bunch of pictures of this green Jeep with like a 3.5 inch rough country lift kit on there. And there was a picture, and I remember it because I'm an autistic idiot. But it was one of those ugly ass 80s Jeep wheels with a 35 BFG on there, and it was just like slammed in the rear of that Jeep, and I was like, oh, cool, I guess that kind of works. And I kept reading through the thread, and then it was like, wait, he's putting 35 Pro Comp MTs on this with a Spartan up front? No. Those are stock control arms. This can't work. And like it just there was this like disbelief in the young Luke's mind about this Jeep, and it was crazy watching some of the stuff that you would post pictures on, because anyone that's wheeled knows that the pictures always look less cool than the actual, obstacle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Sure.
like, I'm seeing pictures that are blowing me away with the understanding that, those are probably worse than what the pictures actually make it out to be. You can do this? No fucking way. And then you welded the rear on it, and like, I just remember after you welded that 8 1/4, it just went downhill.
Yeah, I welded that. So this is no lie. Until 2 weeks ago, a buddy of mine come over and wired 240 into my shop or my garage here, and I've been running a 110 welder since then, and since I lived at home, and yeah, that's been a long time now, over 10
Wow.
years.
You can get a lot done with a 110 welder.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much built my last rig on it too, so.
That's impressive, though. It still is.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as you're a good welder, I think like it's flux core. I'm guessing, right? Or is it gas?
It was, yeah. And that good welder part, I mean, I can make it happen. It sticks together.
yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
if
all that
you're, I
matters.
mean, if you know what you're doing, then you can make it work. Like if you have to do 3 passes to get it hot enough to actually burn in, then fucking do it. Like
Yeah.
I just couldn't trust myself, and it'd just be a whole boogery mess, and I'd have to cut the whole thing out in the end anyway. So I don't even try.
Well, there's your problem. You don't try. But we won't get into that.
Richie can attest. My ZJ buggy, my 98, and my current Jeep for the first half of the build was all 110 and 140 welders with gas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
everything on the 98 was 110, 140 or whatever.
And the whole beginning of Barry, which is what I'm calling my current two-door on tons, that was all 110 with a 140 machine.
Wow. It's crazy to think about.
Everything on my Jeep up until the cage was 110 flux core.
No, you did your cage. Or I'm sorry,
Up until
not
the cage.
my bad. My bad.
Up until the cage was 110 flux core in my parents' driveway, and then it was shielded gas 110 for the cage in my parents' driveway, and that was.
And now you've
a
got
slight
my Hobart.
improvement. Yeah, and now I've got that thing, and I have to crank it down because I end up burning things in too hot because it's got way too much power for what I'm used to. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have something have parts break on me before, but it was not.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. That was your inexperience.
No, it wasn't even. I won't go into it. The part that broke on my original 30. First off, everything exploded in the 30, but the upper control arm ripped off, and I didn't weld that. I let my buddy weld that, which was a mistake. I should have welded it myself. It probably
Was it Jacob?
No, it wasn't Jacob.
Oh,
It was
never
Dave.
mind. Dave, fuck, is that Pizza Slut?
Mhm.
That's Pizza Slut?
You mean Pizza Slave?
Oh, I thought it was Pizza Slut. Never
No,
mind.
either one. You don't think
I
he works
kinda
for,
like
he doesn't work
Pizza
for
Slut
Domino's
better.
anymore. But yeah,
Gosh, dang
that was
it.
Dave. I hate to throw him under the bus, but I'm pretty sure he welded that one. But I don't blame him. It held up for everything except for torquing the entire Dana 30 like 30 degrees out of whack, then have it all snap and snap back. It broke the ring and pinion. It broke everything. So it was
wow.
all of it was fucked. So, but yeah, flux core. Other than that, it held all my brackets on the 50 up until now. I mean, obviously the 50's gone, but yeah, it works. You just have to know what you're doing. Practice.
Practice.
Practice and a map gas torch make magic happen.
Now, are you still running a 110?
No,
Oh, go ahead.
he just said he swapped it 2 weeks ago, or he got
To
220,
what?
240.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Are you happy that you made the change, or did you miss the 110?
Oh, it was amazing.
Nobody
difference.
misses that.
Yeah, I started it and I was like, oh my god, this is so much different. No
Well,
better.
to be fair, you can say that, but I'm sure some people do because all welding is consistency. So
Yeah,
if you can do something well consistently with a not so great welder, then somebody might miss it when they're forced to make a change to go to that 220 change. So guess what, Graham? Fuck you. Maybe
Okay,
somebody does miss their
that's-
110.
No.
To be honest with you, I didn't miss it, but when I welded up the cross member, because, I'm an idiot and I keep breaking cross member bolts, so I welded my 3-piece cross member in because logic, right?
That makes sense.
It felt like putting on an old pair of boots when I went to go and do it. It was just what I was used to from having done so much work with it. Crank it all the way up and turn the wire speed way, way down, crank the gas up, and just get to it.
You know what I miss about my 110?
What's that?
I miss the convenience.
Oh, okay.
You can throw it on your trailer and take it wheeling with you, and then plug it into a campsite or something.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Is you can use it really wherever.
Yeah, I got rid of mine, and I totally regret it.
I did too, but it's not far. It's in Tennessee.
We have a guy
It's
in our
not
club.
far. It's in
Literally right
Tennessee.
there.
Yeah. Well, I can't see it because you got your background blurred, but I believe you. It's still.
We have a guy in our 4-wheel drive club that he has a Lincoln 110. I think it's diesel generator or diesel welder on his trailer. So that's convenient.
Yeah.
So I have one of those, but I have nowhere to put it. I have a massive Miller generator welder in one, but I have it once I set up a trailer, I'll probably put it on there. But this fucker's huge. It ran my whole entire house at one point during the October storm in 2011. So at some point we will have that available for us.
Okay, we've been holding out on us with this information.
Dude,
for
this
how
thing is
long?
This thing's like fucking, I'm not even kidding, it's probably 250 pounds. It's huge. It's meant to go in the back of a service truck for heavy equipment.
No, well, Brandon had a crane truck. You can just crane it into the back of your pickup. There you go.
That would have worked at one point, but we don't have a crane truck anymore.
Oh god.
I mean, it's good tongue weight for your trailer. I mean,
Yeah,
True. That is true. Yeah, it'll be fine.
I gotta see
Go right
pictures
up there.
of this thing.
I'll definitely send you pictures. It's my dad's house, just sitting inside of his garage, and he hasn't touched it since 2011.
Damn.
But
those are expensive.
But yeah, that would work really good. The only thing is, I believe the duty cycle on it is kind of low, just for the simple fact of like it needs to stay that consistent. Like it needs to be consistent. So I think it like starts to lose the ability to be consistent, and then it like kind of goes into its duty cycle to cool down.
What's the word I'm looking for? Ironically enough, on the side note, before I come back to that, the 140 that built my Jeep is currently in Tennessee. My buddy that moved down here with me bought it, so it's right down the road. But I think that it was a 20% duty cycle is the appropriate duty cycle for a maxed out 110 or a 140 machine.
It's the 220. It's big.
If it's a 220, then the appropriate duty cycle for normal, like 5/16 welding, should be closer to like 35 or 40%.
Huh. But I'm not too sure.
But
I'll definitely bring it with me next time. Next time I take the trailer, we'll bring it with us so we can just weld shit as we're driving to wherever we're going.
yeah, just be going down the highway, fucking laying on your back, burning stuff in.
Yeah.
Like absolute
You
mad
can
lad.
finish your Jeep down to Tennessee. We'll just throw you. Just like vent it out the top.
It'd be
Nobody
so
will
bad.
know. Just buzz. Go down the road. Wait, we could. Okay, yeah, we could do this. So we could do the two bender because obviously it's pneumatic. You could just pump it a few times. You'll be good.
Yep.
And then we have the welder. You could finish the Jeep.
Okay, yeah, I'm down.
Man, let's do it.
We'll just go down a
Period.
month early and start.
Exactly.
And then I don't have
So
to worry
I'll
about
see you
work.
guys
That's
in
great.
like
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
I'll see you guys in a month,
Mhm.
and we can get to it.
Perfect.
But I do
Anyways.
feel like we're
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
neglecting
yeah.
the guest here.
Yeah, it's fine. They're used to it at this point.
Probably.
oh yes, yeah.
Hold on. Do you have a raccoon fact? We're gonna ask it early.
I'm listening.
You have a raccoon fact?
What is a raccoon fact?
Yeah.
Or any small, unique critter fact.
Brittle? Is that like
Brittle.
what happens when you're like
Fuck off.
backwoods and crippled?
Cradle.
Not really.
Be
I
anything.
don't-
It could be anything.
Why are we
Really?
like this?
Because people
That's
need
great.
to know.
People love derailment.
Exactly. Oh God, who the fuck's sorry.
Well, that's like the name of the game with this podcast. Like, if we're being honest,
All
we
right, do you have
stick to
any
the-
cool animal fact? We'll start with that.
Man, I don't know.
Oh no,
Any,
all right,
any
we'll come back
cool
to it.
random fact.
Give me
I don't
something. Oh, it's getting worse by the minute.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys absolutely,
God.
completely and utterly derailed this farther than I could have ever imagined doing, and we didn't even wait until the end of the podcast. I am
No,
both
I gotta-
ashamed and incredibly proud.
I gotta
Listen.
throw it in early this time. You guys will yell at me, and I won't be able to one day.
I
So I gotta
come
start.
into every podcast with a random fact ready to go.
Give it
Okay.
to us.
You're
Give
also
it to
special
us.
ed.
All right. So, the reason why ships in distress say Mayday is because it was the idea of a Frederick Mockford, who was a senior radio officer at an airport in London, and he decided that it would be Mayday because it sounds like the French word "m'aider," which means
M'aider?
"help me" in French.
Huh.
All right. Well, the radiator dude. Did you just Google this right now? Like,
Yeah,
No.
it had to.
this
No,
You said,
actually, I had it saved on my phone,
Oh
so
my
I was
God.
ready. So
that's
fuck
actually
you.
no, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
Bill.
Can we get back to wheeling?
Sorry.
Mayday.
So pretty much, so Mr. Ibjeepin. So you're saying you've been around so long that you were around when Dana 30s were cool to build?
I guess so. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Oh, like
It's
this
actually
was like 2006 is when I started driving. So I'm 31. I'm not 104.
You're old.
He's old enough to have made Dana 30s cool to wheel. He was that guy.
I think he is that guy.
He is that guy. He's
I
the
know.
reason that you and Richie have a Spartan locker up front, and Richie's got a welded 8 1/4.
See, I just got lucky that Graham. So, 'cause
What
otherwise
just
it-
happened to his audio? Is that just me?
Yep, you just cut out there, bud.
You got real
I
quiet.
thought it was something on my end.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope,
what the
it's
fuck? I
Cody.
didn't do anything. Okay, well, I guess I'll
Cody, it helps if you're actually near the microphone.
It's attached to my fucking face, Richie.
Now it's better. Okay. there
We'll
you go.
fucking make it closer.
Is it not good right now?
You're
You
still
just got
quiet.
quiet.
What? Am I fine now?
No, nothing changed.
Hey, you're still quiet.
How the fuck am I quiet? Tell
I
me
don't
it's
know.
this. Hello?
No.
Hello.
Edit this down because I literally don't know what I did that would have affected that. So,
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me make a note of this so we have the time where this
Hello.
happened.
yeah, I
what
literally
did you
have no-
do?
I didn't do anything. Oh wow, I literally have no. What are you talking about? My input is perfectly fine.
And you're quiet as hell.
No, like while you were talking, Cody, your volume just went straight down.
Yeah, you said something. You
on my end, it's
paused
perfect.
and said it again, and it was just like, now it sounds like your mic's over here.
I didn't touch anything. I just literally sat here was the screen.
I mean, I can bump your volume.
Am I
up on
quiet?
my
Am I
end.
still quiet now?
Yeah,
How about now?
That's better.
you're
Whatever
good
you
now.
I didn't do anything. I just said how about now? What?
do. All right, we'll roll with it.
What
I
the
can just
fuck?
bump your
Alright.
volume up. Your clarity is there. You're just not It just doesn't come through as high. It's like the gain went down or something.
What the fuck? I'm not doing anything though. That's so odd.
All right. Well, if it's okay now, let's jump back into it so I can make my editing note clean. So yeah, Ibjeepin is the reason that Cody's rig has the Spartan up front, and Richie's rig has the lock right up front with the welded 8 1/4.
And also now with Buckley getting a Spartan, so pretty fucking good.
All right. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but there's a lot of Jeeps that do that now. That is like the
There are.
thing to do. Is Spartan lockers. I mean, at least maybe this is just my bias because that's what we all do. But Spartan
Yeah,
locker 35s, 4-inch-ish lift is like that's normal.
You say that, but like when I was wheeling with my dad back in like 2005, nobody ran lockers. They ran CJs and YJs open with 32s because they thought that was the cool thing to do. So with him being somewhere around the 2007, 2008 range, doing a locker, that's some pretty big shit.
Well,
And, like,
I don't
I
know
think
if you did
it's-
that then. That will. Colton,
Yeah.
what was at in 2006, 2007, where you running a locker in your Dana 30?
No, I
All
was
right.
not. I probably didn't run one until it's like 2010 or something like that.
Okay, so it's
but-
still fairly recent, but then again, that it was
Still
common
12
science
years
at that
ago.
point.
What's that?
That's still 12 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And my point with that, though, right, is that, like, the experience that I saw on the forum from a couple of threads in particular, Sam McIntyre's Cherokee forum LCOG builds and how to do them, um, 99 build thread from you, and the action fab stuff was really what shaped my view on how to build a wheeling rig. And, you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like as a result of that, it ended up in a weird convulsive way, leading to Graham getting the Dana 50 and the 10.5, Cody and Richie's setups being what they are, low rigs with 3 links, or in Richie's case, I'm sorry to steal your thunder here, bud, but JK lower short arms with custom uppers to get a little bit of stretch out of it on a budget, and 10-inch white-bodied shocks. It was just you stumbled into something that worked really well on a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Colton. You got any? I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm done talking about our rigs. I want to hear about and like the progressions of cookie cutter XJs. I think it's super fucking cool that it seems like you were definitely one of the early guys to go about that route. But I kind of want to hear about what you've been doing now with your rigs. I know you said you had.
Yeah.
Do you have multiple right now? I think before we started, you may have alluded to that.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. I just bought so I made a terribly, well, I don't know if it was a poor decision, but pretty much so with gas prices. I had a Civic recently, and a friend of mine had a Cherokee it's on 35. It's stock axles, 35, locker in the front. I think it's got a 3-link in it. I think it's the Iron Rock 3-link. And see, pretty much it. 35s, 315s on the Rubicon wheels. And I just recently traded that. That was a poor idea with gas prices going the way, but that's my new daily. So I now, or soon will be yeeting that down the road as far as for my daily. But I really bought that. So I was actually kind of thinking about buying a JK soon. I have a 8-month-old son, and I want to get him right. Like, I have a buddy that lives down the road, and he has a cruiser on 40s. And he likes to go right around local trails here. We're like 20 minutes from George Washington National Forest, so it's cool to he takes his son up there all the time to hang out and just be in nature, basically.
Yeah.
And I want to do that with him soon. And like I said, I was looking at a 4-door JK, but then my cheap side got the best of me, and I bought a shitbox XJ. So here we are, back to old times. But my other rig that I have now is so when I had the green Jeep, the green XJ,
yep,
I bought that was at it's probably past its peak. It was getting pretty rough. It was on BFG Blue Label crawlers, beadlocks, 35s, and it was beat to pieces. I had a hybrid cage on it. Just had pretty much got that done, and I put a set of PRPs in it. It was getting to the point that it was going to be, full trail rig.
Yep.
I had also bought a 2-wheel drive Power Stroke at the time, 5-speed truck, 7.3, and that's what I was towing with. And I stumbled across a YJ, a 93 high output Jeep, not far from my house. And I got looking at it. It said $1,400 on the windshield, and I was like, man, I could buy that and flip it pretty quick. Bought it. The transfer case had like 2 bolts holding it, and you know how they look underneath. It's like 6 on the belly pan. Yeah, they were. Yeah. It was 2 holding it in on the front.
Wow. And
they said, well, you want to test drive it? And I looked underneath of it, and I was like, yeah, I'll test drive it. So I took it down the road with the transfer case basically hanging out of it, but it held on. Brought it back. Offered him $900 for it. they took it.
Wow.
So I had a YJ for like with a brand new top. The body was pretty solid. The fenders had some rust in them. That was about it. Like, and the frame, obviously, the frame had a little bit of rust in it.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and the plan was to fix it. Well, me and a buddy of mine cut the frame out, made it look really good. Got it all back together, and at the same time, I bought a fairly spanked set of Reds 37. Gave $500 for them on. They were on Dodge, like 03, well, 5 on 5.5 wheels, just like Steelies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, just cheap set stickies. So
Yeah. You can't beat that.
no, not at all. They were going to go on the XJ, and I got talking to actually the guy that I bought the stickies from. He's in my 4 drive club, and he's like, you should just build the YJ and sell your XJ or part it out or whatever you want to do. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So that's what spawned that build. And to this day, it's pretty simple build. It's still 4.0. I swapped an AW4 into it from the XJ. It lives on in the YJ. It's got the AW4 and I had the T case in there, but I exploded that at Rock Run and then put another one in it. And I run a winter shifter. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that. Like a
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Honestly, I've never even heard of it.
So it's what they do a lot of stuff for. Actually, Rad Designs is who I bought it from.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of them. They're the ones that build all the weird shifters for AW4s, like they got that one that's just like looks like a little joystick, and it's 4 gears forward.
Yep.
And you can like wire it somehow. I don't know. It's like you can wire it somehow so you can like flip a toggle switch and go to full manual.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
the winter shifter body. I mean, you can type that in. Just look it up on Google. They're all over the place. People run them for LSs and stuff like that all the time. So, I got one of those. It's like back in the day playing like what was that, like Sega GT or whatever, the racing game at like Pizza Hut, like on an old arcade. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. The winter shifter is just the gated shifter that you see a lot
it's a
of.
gated.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a gated shifter, and Rad Designs made electronics for it. So all you did was like wire like 2 wires into the solenoids and a hot and a ground, and you was ready to rock. And you manually shift it. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. It works good. It was I was planning on using a PCU from the XJ, but to be honest with you, I got trying to do it, and I was having a hard time making it work between the like OBD1 to, and that may not even have been the issue. I just got annoyed with it, and I was like, you know what, screw it. This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, just a manual shift.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun too. Like
It's in a rock crawler.
yeah. It's 1-2 like no more 1-2 shift. Like you can straight bang the rev limiter in first and just leave it in first, and that's fun. So
I need that so bad.
eBay has them $140. Get on it. Sorry, $240.
Nice.
I need hydro more than I need that though, so we're gonna hold off.
I ended up stretching it. It's actually stretched to 103. The rear, instead of doing the normal XJ stretch that everybody does, they turn the leaves backwards and run that. Back in the day, I bought a BTF bumper right before they went out of business, which Moto builds pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
They make the same stuff. I did that, and instead of using the XJ leaves backwards, I always noticed, and a buddy of mine in my 4-wheel drive club kind of he helped me out with this because he was like, watch all the people that do that, like do the backwards leaf springs. They get a lot of wheel hop. So
you get more than wheel hop. We've talked about that before. They it don't last. It's
Fucks
not
the
a
body
good
up.
thing.
Well, I ended up just taking 2.5 inch XJ or YJ leaves. So I bought basically just a YJ 2.5 inch lift kit. Push the frame side mounts, spring mounts back to what YJ length would be for, or whatever the distance I needed for YJ springs, and just ran them in that configuration. And I ran them spring under. So
What?
I run my whole rig is spring under.
Huh.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No,
that's
I don't.
old school.
I don't-
Cool.
I don't
Yeah.
run the traction bar at all.
Wait, so you're not driving a Cherokee, is what you're saying?
No, he's driving a YJ.
No,
You
this,
paying attention?
Okay,
this is my current build.
I went to
Or
go
current
get food,
rig.
and I might have missed that part. My
Oh,
bad.
God.
Sorry. I'm fucking starving.
It's,
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so no traction bar. Like, I very rarely get any wheel hop. Like, it has to be like 100% traction bouncing on it before it really, which I think in that case, pretty much anything.
Yeah,
it's gonna
get
bounce,
some sort
but-
of hop.
Yeah, but the front's just pushed out like 2 or 3 inches. I've replaced all the leaf spring mounts at this point. That's for that. The Lockright front. Still living that Lockright life. It's got super joints in the front, chromoly axles. I did just recently go to Yukon. I was running plugs in the front, but I went to Yukon hardcore hubs.
Yep.
They rock, by the way, if you haven't run them.
Why
Not
did
a plug,
you make
not a
that
plug
change?
for. So, all right. So back, and I also need to say that the axles in this Jeep, the 9 inch as well, started in the XJ. I literally ripped everything out of the XJ, other than the only thing that the YJ kept was the motor.
Oh, shit.
It was a solid motor. So I swapped everything over. Just pulled the axles I had.
Makes sense.
But I did, like I said, I did more to the 44, and now the 9 inch is totally different. But I'll get to that in a minute. The hardcore, the Yukon hardcore hubs, I run piles of mile markers, Warren premiums. I don't know what else is there. More super winch. I ran like 1.7 maybe. I broke them all. Like, just killed them. Like, I'd show up to places. 15 minutes later, everything's broke. Or not, not everything, but like all the hubs. It was a hub slayer. That's what it was. And it really didn't get bad until I went to unless I was like, if I was running the stickies. I used to run a set of old school 37-inch MTRs sometimes for the street. And then, like, if I did a comp or something that I couldn't use a sticky, I would use, the street tires. So on the street tires, the 37-inch MTRs, like, it hardly ever broke them. But stickies slayed them. Just absolutely slayed them. And
It was
I
the
went
same
to-
size tire. You just
but the sticky.
just
Well, it really
shredded
wasn't.
them?
That's an unfair comparison. Like, the stickies were so shot that I had, like, they were slick. I mean, they really were for a while. The first set I had, but they worked so good. Like, they just hooked up, and I'd kill them. And I ended up getting a set of Wagoneer slugs. Just pulled a set from a Wagoneer. Ran those for a while, and that was cool. But what sucked was I did still street drive it a good bit at that point, and it was just local trails and stuff, no runs and things like that. But I ended up being like, this sucks. And we went to the beach 2 years ago, and I hauled it down to Corova, Outer Banks. If you know anything about that, like. We stayed at a house out there, and I drove it back and forth on the beach, and I swapped in a set of Warren premiums, and then took them immediately back out for the wheeling trip like the next weekend. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be swapping hubs all the time. So a couple guys in the club, that pretty much everyone's on tons except for me and a couple of us at this point. run the hardcore hubs, and I was like, man, they're they was like, these things never break. Like we beat the shit out of them, they hold up. I was like, all right, well, they're $350. I was like, I'll buy a set. Popped them in, haven't had a bit of problem. I've never broke. Usually break outer 44 shafts,
Yep.
hubs, and never break the hubs. So
What year axle is it?
what's that?
What year axle is the 44?
Okay,
What's it
so
out of? Yeah.
it's a real bastard of a 44. It's I think this is how bad it is. I think it's a J10. I
Wow.
told Luke this
Okay.
story the other day. It's a low pinion 44. So me and a friend of mine a long time ago bought this lifted rolled XJ. It was like 9 inches of lift with a 44 and an 8-inch,
Mhm.
and it had lots of good stuff on it. And I said, hey, I want the axles. The guy we talked him down like $2,000 for it, and I said, I want the axles. You can have everything else. And he's like, all right, cool deal. And he just wanted a beater rig, just something to throw him. I think I gave him my stock axles,
Mhm.
and he threw them in and ran them.
What was
And-
that, Casey?
Yeah, that was my buddy Casey. Yeah.
How do you know that, Luke?
Yeah, how do you know
Weirdo.
that?
Word. I mean,
No.
hey, Luke is great at stalking. Okay.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm excellent at stalking, but he also had a build thread on that. It ended up like with the absolute worst fender cut I've ever seen on the rig that they went into.
It was crazy.
Like I think it was comp cut, like my Jeep
Yeah,
was.
it was. You could throw a
But-
baseball through the side of it. It was awesome.
But like it went all the way back, and there was no effort put into filling in the
Uh-uh.
gaps. And
I know
that's
somebody
how I
with this rig
remember
like
that.
that currently.
He actually had another one that was similar that he built after that one, I think.
The one
And
I'm
did a-
thinking of had the zebra stripes,
Yeah,
or had the
that.
stripes.
Yeah. I think that one was actually his daily for like a hot second, like that. It was. He got. So I don't know how your all's laws are on driving and stuff like that, but it's gotten more lax here. But like back then, that was a big no-no, and he got pulled over one time. No doors, no brake lights, like in the middle of Harrisonburg here, like where the college is. And he said like 3 state troopers pulled up behind him, and they wrote him like 7 tickets. They wanted to tow it,
Wow.
but they let him go.
Jeez.
So our laws in Mass are pretty bad, but to be fair, I haven't really been fucked with in a while. Now,
Knock on wood, bud.
yeah, and I'm gonna give a little knock you on the woods. I think it might be also that like I'm not a moron when I do dumb shit. Like I think I don't know. Pretty much, I used to get pulled over for like an inspection sticker or with something wrong with my car or something wrong with my Jeep all the time. Where I mean, I've been running around without an inspection sticker on my truck since 2020. Like it's fine. So either you're right and people just have gotten like laxed with everything, or I don't know, or we're just not as dumb as we used to be.
I don't
I
know.
think there's definitely. It seems like there's been a relaxation of all that shit. I don't know. At least
Yeah.
in
I think so.
what I've seen.
I mean, down this way, it definitely has too. So
Don't get me wrong. Like they'll still
Here-
get you. It's just
yeah,
they don't really know what to look for, especially in. And this is what I say all the time to people asking me how I managed to drive mine. It's just nobody. They don't know what to write me for. It's a massive fucking lifted Cherokee with tube all over it. That's driving totally normal on the road. Like, yes, it doesn't have a sticker, but like,
yeah.
and you could
Drives better
probably
than
write up,
most.
you could throw the book, you could throw the book at it, but you got to know what to pull it over for. The easy one would be lift, but I don't know. It gets tricky because it's
Yeah.
I run antique tags on my YJ.
Oh, lucky
gets-
fucker.
That gets kind of so no inspection on that, but it does get kind of tricky because like there's a lot of laws that go into it, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's so some of them are kind of easy to probably get around.
Yep.
I think the problem here with them, they've been really laying into people with them though, because like people will put them on like a 85 Toyota and like all trash at the dump and stuff like that with it. So,
Yep.
so that's where they're busting people at. But I like it because I mean, it's pretty much just a 4-wheeling rig, but I still keep it insured, and keep it tagged. But you never know. I mean, people, how people are sometimes. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
People are
tough one.
strange.
yeah. But as far as the rest of the rig, the 9-inch was just spooled and a 31 spline rear up until Harlan this year. Took my dad. That was like his first big wheeling trip he's ever been with me on, and like hardcore wheeling, not like riding through the mountains or something. And we got through the first. I think we ran rail bed first, and then we come out, and then we run another. We was on the way to another trail, and there was a steep climb, and it was a struggle. I can't remember what it was. For the life of me. But I ended up trying to make this climb, slid back a couple times, and I mean, I've been in this rig now 5 years. Yeah, 5 years about. Mm-hmm. So I know it, and I know when to let off. I know it's not a ton rig. I mean, it's pretty stout for what it is, but also I should also add that I did basically new crawlers this year on a set of battle-born beadlocks. So that added to the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
So in this process, trying to make this climb, I slid back a couple times and got the snap crackle pop, and come to find out, like I thought, I drove it all the way back to camp, or back to the cabins, and come to find out, I thought it was just a shaft, which I had a spare shaft. Took it all apart, pulled the third member out, and lo and behold, it took out one of the bearings too on the carrier.
Oh.
And I didn't have a spare third on me, so that was useless.
Was that the first day, or was that a couple days in?
No, that was like 30 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's worse than me. I made it to the night ride, and then my front end blew up last I was at Harlan. The only time I've been at Harlan. And you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah. So luckily, I was really upset too, and especially because I had just done all this work, and there's a guy in our club that has like 1,400 acres right across the West Virginia line from us, and we do some. That's kind of we test and tune over there. He has a really cool spot to go, and we test and tune over there usually in the spring. For we'll go over there for a day trip or something and come back. So that's really helpful. But it didn't help when I come back and blow the third member out. So drive 6 hours and do that. So
exactly.
Luckily there was a guy in our club that he has a really sweet YJ that's very similar in build to mine, but it's spring over on 39-inch crawlers. Stretched probably maybe a little more than mine, and it's an automatic 3-speed TJ 3-speed in it, and he and another guy in our club, they both like riding dual sports and riding dirt bikes and stuff like that. They brought them with them, and he's like, here's the keys to mine, you brought your dad, y'all gotta have fun this weekend. I'm gonna ride dual sports because it was super nice outside. Oh, it was like one time at Harlan that it wasn't raining.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome, though.
Lucky at Harlan.
I completely understand what you mean. Yeah. The one day it's not raining. Yep.
Yeah.
The place is a swamp. Great, but
It is.
swampy.
It is. So
it's a mountainous swamp.
So he ended up spotting me. The guy that they showed up on their bikes at some point was like, hey, or they showed up in Lionsden, and I was like, you want me to take it through Lionsden? And he's like, well, sure. He's like, I'll spot you. So I ended up laying it on its side in Lionsden, so that was awesome.
Right in front of him.
Yeah, pretty much, yep. But when I got home, I it was awesome. I didn't think much about it. I left the third member out of the carrier for 6 hour ride home. My trailer was covered in gear oil on the way home.
Oh
Um,
no!
Oh, that's
awesome. When I got home, ordered from East Coast Gear Supply. I ordered Yukon third, nodular third, 35 spline and 35 spline shafts, and just did it big right out of the box. That way it's spooled still.
Hell yeah.
So really, I could almost put a ton front end in the front and rock it. But I actually have another YJ tub and frame, and if any of my friends listen to this, they're gonna laugh at me because I've been talking about this build for 2 years now. But it's really hard to build something when you have a perfectly good rock crawler that hangs with 95% of the ton rigs. So, but I have another YJ tub and frame, complete Chevrolet pickup LS 5.3 with
All yeah, so you're
with
going
a
just
Do it.
yeah.
Do it.
Well,
It'll be dope.
the plan is I want to build. I'm really torn on what I want to do with it because, and I also have, and I heard y'all don't like ball joint or kingpins, but I do have a 78, 79 kingpin front.
I don't
Talked about this the other day.
Lame.
I don't
You could have gone 05 plus and been Uber Chad with them 1550s
Yeah, but
and
you're doing
all
that
that
lately.
girth.
I totally traded one and some money on top for this one.
really
I did.
interesting.
Did.
See,
Well,
around
78,
here,
79,
it's the other way
79
around.
brings stupid money. Brings stupid money.
Yeah,
Where are you from again,
get
just to
the
clarify?
stupid money and go to the better axle. It's not a hard choice
Yeah,
there, bud.
well, we picked them. Well, I will say this: 78, 79s have the most tube length on the driver's side. And initially, I was planning on staying leaf spring, but now I'm kind of thinking about linking it.
Fuck yeah.
Just
Be
in the
cool.
front. I'm gonna
Wait.
keep the rear leaf spring.
No, why don't you just hold on? You're going crazy now because sooner or later you might as well just drop the LS in your YJ and make that the full blown buggy.
Well,
So-
here's my plan though.
Mhm.
The one I have now, it was an earlier build. There's a lot of things I'd like to change, but I want to keep that one because my end game with that one is I don't know if y'all have heard of the X-Rock series, like competition four wheeling on the East Coast.
No.
I may
Okay,
have.
it's a thing. They've done comps up and down the East Coast, but I was thinking about getting that rig into that. I also like that we do club comp with our club at Rauschs Creek a lot, and I like it. I want to keep it small for that, and I just want to build. I want to build a 39 or 42 inch rig. I'm
43 SXs, not up or shut up.
Well, it's either that
Right.
or why not just keep your rig working? You drive it around every once in a while. It works good the way it is. So guess what?
That's what I'm doing.
The wifey can go drive that, or I don't know what your
Yeah.
marital status is.
Yeah.
But
He's old. He's married with kids. He's like Kish
Well,
now.
I don't know. Some people don't like their wives that they have babies with. Maybe he left her. I didn't know. Okay, I didn't want to assume. So
my wife, my wife's super cool about it. Like she
hell yeah.
encourages it.
So why don't you keep that for her, and then when your baby's old enough to wheel a rig, you'll have this perfect specimen of a perfect YJ, and then it'll give you a good reason to build the buggy YJ.
I have 6 vehicles tagged and insured, so I'm not going to get rid of one. Like I like having stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to leave that one alone. Like I don't want to say it's perfection, but for what I do, like it works awesome, and I don't want to mess with it.
Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it.
Exactly. So the next rig, it's definitely gonna have a back seat. This one don't, because I want to get my son in it, and if we have another kid, I want to be able to build a 4-seater. And I'm really thinking about. So I don't know if y'all keep up with as much that Moto Build does, but they're getting ready to. They're doing a lot for YJs right now, like
I
a
have
lot,
seen that.
and they're They're building they're basically doing everything to LJ, like make your YJ and LJ.
Yeah, I saw that kit. Look cool.
The armor, the outer armor, the rear fenders. They even make a back half you can cut into your YJ frame and then back half at 15 extra inches for the LJ
I
stuff.
did see that.
I'm
that
saying
was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm saying leaf spring rear because,
Just
I
ease of
like leaf
setup.
springs.
Yeah.
Like most of our club runs leaf springs still, like a lot of them. We have
leaf springs are cool until you get a little taste of that drug that is coilovers.
The one time, like ever since I drove Curtis's rig, I just want to four-link the shit out of my rig just because of how stable his shitbox is under like extreme flex. I love it so much.
Don't get them moving fast. Those ORIs won't hang. They can't do it.
Saw my rig fucking like he'd ridden in it before, and then when we did the coilovers out back, that thing picked up an extra 20 miles an hour.
Oh, well, the back isn't just like a board. But you can set leaf springs up so they're actually functional and work well.
Sorry for picking on you.
No, it's good. Like, I don't know. I've run them for a while or a long time now, and I mean, it's not much I've gotten. I mean, sure, I get denied occasionally, but like, not enough that I want to like rip it all out. You know, I mean, it's super cheap. Like, I can screw one up. $70 later for a new spring pack, you're good to go.
Yeah, what do you run for springs on it?
Right now I run I think a Rubicon Express 2.5 inch, nothing special.
Hell yeah.
It's
Can we just take a second and appreciate the shit out of Rubicon Express for their fucking springs? They're legit.
I've heard good things about them and at fairly good prices too.
Yeah. And you can hop on Amazon, just order it, like I said, like $70, I think.
You know what's funny? The first set of coil springs I ever bought were the Rubicon Express 3.5s. I cut one link off of them, and those currently sit under Kish's Jeep.
Yeah, beats up. Shit.
And they still work great.
Yeah.
So
they're just short.
I've never been a huge YJ fan until I looked at WOD's like chassis, like their YJ CJ chassis. It's fucking pretty cool, and it's pretty affordable too. Have you looked into any of that kind of shit for it?
No, not really.
So it's fucking impressive. Like the whole rear is chopped off. And it gives you like insane clearance in the back for whether you want to do a fuel cell or a one-ton setup and keep even probably almost a stock. Like it's that high up, and their lead time 4 to 6 weeks. Obviously, this is not a paid ad or anything because like it's like we don't get paid.
The JC chassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, with the cage and all, their lead time is like, oh well, hold on, this isn't with the cage. Oh boy, this definitely just got pricier. Hold on, let me just we just add all the options that I was looking at before. Their lead time is 4 to 6 weeks, and like, okay, that just got doubled. Anyways, it's roughly like $6,000 for the whole cage and the whole entire tube chassis for it.
Do you get does it come with a body?
No, it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't.
Okay, so you just get the chassis.
Yeah, but you can get like a CJ tub and do some sick shit with it. That's dope. I don't know. It's just I've always
hey, they're right down the road.
Paid advertisement.
They are.
I realize it, but they're 30 minutes from my house.
Oh, perfect. So I don't even have to get shit shipped. I'll just have it sent to your house and then I'll come down and grab it.
You got to be careful with that. Luke will have a nice new CJ buggy.
So be it.
But
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a fan of that.
Why is that?
Thing. I don't know. It just looks kind of funky to me. I wouldn't build it that way. It just doesn't. Right. I don't like the tube. It's not that it's bad tube work. I just don't like it. I don't know. It's my irrational brain.
Makes sense to me.
But I do know that they are a distributor for the 43 SX stickies, but they're also they're offering the Mega SX 45s. So that's cool.
Are you gonna get
Shit.
some 45s?
We got one guy that runs in our club. We got one guy that runs the 43s. Seems like they work really good with big horsepower. He has a 6-liter LS buggy. And we actually got a guy with a Toyota that runs what's the Mickeys? Are they 43s? They're 43s,
Baja
right?
Pro 43s?
Yeah, he runs them.
Baja, whatever, XS.
SX.
Yeah,
Something like that.
we have a guy that runs those, and he really likes them too. So
Is that with the old Toyota motor, the 22RE?
yeah, actually, it still is.
Fuck yeah, 22 Rs are sick.
Hey, it does work. I'll give it that. I mean, it does work.
They love limiter just as much as a 4-liter, so I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Not trying to divert too far, but there's
Oh,
a dude in Alabama that's got a buggy listed right now. Toy axles with a 2 point whatever it is, supercharged EOTech on 40-inch reds, and the thing's fucking sick.
Are you saying this because you want to buy it?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think there was a conversation about this rig, and he's not buying it. We've determined, but
No, that was a different rig. That one was the 3.8 supercharged
Oh,
rig.
gotcha,
He didn't
gotcha.
want to trade. This guy said he wants a streetable rig.
Do it. Do
I'm
it.
debating it.
Fucking love it.
I will say one thing as far as tires are concerned, though. Like, I'm diehard Reds. Diehard.
Really? So
Yeah,
outside
I mean-
of stickies, though, what's your favorite tire?
Oh. I don't know. I'm pretty biased, I guess, the BFG. I like BFGs, but I actually would like to try the tire I just put on my tow rig. I put a set of ridge grapplers on it, so I wouldn't mind to try a Nitto of some sort. Maybe what's their is it trail grappler?
Grapplers.
Yeah.
I think they'd be cool to try.
They're a great tire.
Yeah, I
run 'em.
I know a guy with 40 that has a set of 40s, and he really likes them.
I run
Now-
them. I really like them.
Now, what would you say is your most hated tire?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get a lot of. There's two that I really hate.
Okay.
Um,
give it to us.
Pitbull, anything,
Mhm.
okay.
Little shit bulls. Hell yeah. Fuck those things.
and this is where I'm gonna catch a lot of slack, but I don't really care. rauschs.
Oh, there's no slack.
Okay.
I mean, I
hate
have a
them.
soft spot for
I've
them,
never
but I
I've never
understand why you
run
hate them.
I've never run them. So we have a guy in our club. No, he comes wheels with us a lot. And one time, I mean, it was just a freak accident, really. But my straight, slammed, bald 37s I had. I watched him. He's got a Toyota on the 42-inch sticky rauschs.
Mhm.
So. I don't know if y'all have ever seen them. You don't see
They're
them
big.
very much, but
No,
Yeah.
I've seen big ones, but I don't know if they were stickies.
yeah, I believe these were stickies.
Graham, because Rob had a pair of 40-inch or 42-inch sticky IROCs.
Oh, they were okay. So they were.
Yeah,
More
his were.
stickies.
Yeah, they were. He
Nope.
told me otherwise, so
Because I was talking with him about buying them, and he told me they weren't.
that he lied to me because he definitely told me they were stickies.
I know that
Sticky.
they do make them though.
Yeah.
But this guy we was at a private piece of land, a friend of ours, and he tried to make this rocky climb, and I come up right behind him and just went right up. And I remember I got the top, like, man, fuck you.
So
And I don't want to really hate on them because I have seen them do work. The stickies, like anything sticky's awesome for the most part.
Yeah.
But
my
but
All-Star Patagonia stickies still suck dick.
I don't know anything about them.
Listen, man.
Yeah,
That
All
sounds
I'm
like
gonna
you
tell
might
you-
know a thing or two.
All I'm gonna tell you is when you're on your 6th run of hoping the tire breaks in and you've been banging rev limiter for 2 minutes trying to get them hot, and then a Jeep on 35s walks up the same obstacle that you're on, it hurts a little bit.
Oh,
Wait,
Especially
yeah.
when they're
yours,
40s.
yours weren't stickies though,
No, but fuck Milestars. So their sticky suck too.
because you're
I'll
you're talking
say-
about the time that Marvell walked up the
No,
doubles.
it was you, motherfucker.
Which one?
We were at Kish's that time, and you went up the fucking double step in the back like it was fucking nothing.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Okay, to be fair though, that exact situation happened every time you went out with the Pats.
hey, maybe them grabbers are just up to something. You know, I don't jerk them up
Because those
anymore, but hey, they work.
Those nettos will take you around the back of the schoolyard and beat your ass, boy.
So to be fair though, the only reason that I even like jerk the grabbers off to any extent is simply just for the fact of they do have weird tendencies to have grip when I do not expect them to. Like there is multiple
tire.
you said, what, grabbers?
general
Yeah.
grabbers, yeah, the
The,
market.
Genital-
the X3,
genital
not
grabbers.
those shitty ones.
Genital grabbers.
Yeah.
You watch your genitals, boys.
Yeah.
But
Going
like
back,
there's been. Sorry, go ahead. You're good. You're good.
going
sorry.
back to the IROC. Sorry if I totally just
No, you're good.
derailed you again, Cody. But
I don't care.
um,
I had the smoothest
I-
transition of asking a tire question in my entire life. All right, I'm stoked
I
right
know. Yeah, it worked pretty well. So
And
The
we
only-
didn't have to remind you.
the only reason I like IROCs is because I've had this one. How old is it, Luke? It's from 2007.
Yep.
I have a 2007 IROC. It's a 36 IROC, or it is now, something like that. 17-inch rim that I just run as a spare. It's always been my spare tire whenever I blow a Trep radial, which I don't have
Oh.
anymore, but
Right.
whenever I'd blow a Trep radial, I'd throw the IROC on. And the IROC didn't give a fuck what it hit. I don't know what pressure is in the tire. It's probably around 20, but the thing was rock hard. You could jam it into anywhere and it didn't care. The Treps were really squishy tires, and I liked them because of that. They got me up a lot of obstacles, but the Trep or the IROC on the other hand was just this stiff as a board tire that especially as a trail rig, it made sense because I could, even if I popped a tire, I'd always have one and it would be dependable, even though it was questionable on the highway.
I can agree 100% because of mine that I own. I own a set of 36s. And those things were just as old, if not older, than yours. And those things, yeah, they didn't squish. They had grip every once in a while when
Yeah.
you really wouldn't expect it. But they couldn't die. Mine
Yeah,
had major
die.
gouges out of the sidewalls, and it didn't give a fuck.
No,
And it just kept on going.
that's the only benefit to them is it's like running a Humvee tire
Yeah.
or something. They're just
I mean,
insane.
swampers in general are pretty tough. I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
They take the abuse. I mean,
Um,
I'm just diehard. I'm just diehard red because it's one of those things I did to my Jeep that when I did it, it was a game changer. Like it was like magic. Like I bought a set of stickies that barely had lugs on them, and I was like, this is stupid. And then it walked everywhere, and I was like, this is like I don't have to rev limiter all the time anymore. It's awesome.
I will.
Well, kind of awesome. I still like rev limiter, but
I like the IROC as a tire. It might be the New Englander in me speaking, but they were always like, how do I put it? They were the bar, right? They weren't like the best tire out there, but they were always an acceptable tire, and they always did good. It didn't matter really like what you put them in. They would work in the snow. They were okay in the mud. If you flipped them around backwards, they worked amazing in the rocks. Not amazing like in regards to a sticky, but I would say that an IROC is comparable to a Nitto trail grappler if it's ran on a bead lock and all of that. I would give a set of 40 stickies a try without a second thought. And as far as I know, the 42s have always been garbage.
You are right, because they did have grip in the snow in a really weird way, and I'm guessing it's just because the snow couldn't pack in the tread because there was like
There's no
5-inch
tread.
gaps in the tread. Yeah. But mine were pretty fucking bald, and I was able to truck through, what do we have, like 18 inches, 19 inches of snow that day?
At,
Luckily there was,
or Battlegrounds.
yeah, Battlegrounds. Luckily
Yeah,
there was no
nobody gets
ice,
anywhere.
but
Fuck that day.
that was a great day. What do you mean?
Fuck that day.
I got to pass you like wide open, just trugging through fresh powder. It was fucking awesome. What do you mean?
Fuck that day.
Yes, we know
Hey,
you had.
just be glad you
PTSD.
trailered that day.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so fucking happy.
You know what also happened that day? I got a stinger shoved through my back hatch. So yeah. Yep.
Oh, was that the same day?
No, so the hatch was already broken, but we were sitting in pretty much traffic deciding if we were going to go down the really disgusting blue or we were going to keep going up the green. And Graham just came in behind me, literally shoved his stinger up into my Jeep.
The boner bar.
It was awesome.
That's so cool.
Maybe
It's a surprise.
it was
It
the
was
most
also-
obnoxious stinger bumper you probably would have ever seen. It was.
I miss it though.
Me and
I
my
remember
I
that
don't miss
day.
it, but I do miss its antics that I could get up to with it.
It was
Yeah.
iconic.
It was. Real quick though, to go back to that day, I missed playing air traffic controller going up that last hill. I had to wait until everyone cleared the bend at the top, and then I would be like, all right, you gotta punch it and just second gear rev limiter up this 18-inch packed powder snow hill. And it was like, if you weren't
You
banging
mean
rev limiter-
after I took 10 minutes to go up the fucking hill?
Why
Yeah.
did you went first? We've talked about this before, but yeah, you going first was.
It was
Terrible
great.
fucking idea.
It was fucking great because, like, me and my two buddies in my Jeep, we were going up, and all of a sudden, it just slowed down, and then all three of us just start bouncing. I don't know why, but the bouncing started fucking helping. So, like, we're literally singing, like, the song with, like, the what's that, like, the train where it's like, I think I can. We're doing that while bouncing the fucking Jeep up and down, and it slowly just went, and then just kept on going. It was great.
like, that was the first time I ever heard Graham hit rev limiter, and Colin was solidly on rev limiter in like third gear by the time he passed me as I waved them to go up the hill. Good times.
Yeah.
Great day. Definitely, I mean, I destroyed my Jeep a lot that day. All worth it.
Always.
always
So-
worth it. Breaking, tearing
Yep.
stuff up is always worth it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the damage.
On the note of
Yeah.
always worth it, this is your time to sell why it's worth it for us to move our trip to the Good Evening Ranch.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So, well, first off, I'm going to Windrock next in a month.
Speaking of
Um,
which, if you're going to be at Windrock, do you care if I come up and drink beer?
I mean, I don't care. You can come up and drink beer if you want. You can, but you should bring your Jeep.
I mean, that might be doable.
And this is kind of bad. I've been to Windrock only once, and I went with some people that not only one of them I think had been to Windrock, and he didn't know the trail system that well. So my first experience at Windrock was not the best because I didn't know it that well, and I'm sad. So I'm really excited to go in April because I'm going with a group that's very experienced with it. So,
That actually
well, my
knows it.
club. So yeah. I mean, they've been going for years and years. So, that's just one place that I really haven't
Go
been
to
that much.
AOP.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that too. Our whole club's talking about going there at some point. We just
We're
haven't
going
made it
the
yet.
13th through the 15th with Trail Trash.
Is that May?
Yep.
Man, it seems like every weekend in May I got something going on. It's almost all four-wheeling related. Like, I think I'm going to the ranch twice in May, actually. one of them's a comp weekend.
Mm.
I'm spotting for a competitor.
So you keep talking about this the competition stuff. So what does that all entail?
Hold up.
What?
He was
Back to the
supposed
Good
to
Evening
sell
Ranch.
the Good Evening
Oh,
Ranch.
okay.
Yeah,
Sell the
let
Good
me sell-
Evening Ranch. We'll come back.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna sell West Virginia wheeling as like a whole. Like there's a lot of untalked about places there that's awesome. And I'll start with Good Evening for Luke. Good Evening Ranch. We did like our club did like I like to call it Tour Day West Virginia. We took all of like 3 or 4 of us took a week off and just trailered to 4 different spots in West Virginia. Like made a whole week of it. It was awesome. It was one of my favorite wheeling experiences. And the last place we went was Good Evening, and the cool part of it was no one with us had ever been there. Good Evening was open years ago, and I don't know the full details, but apparently it was like it was like some Tiger King stuff going on. Like it was like all these tigers and like animals they had like running in the woods.
What?
Yes. And you could wheel there too though, but then it
With
slowly,
tigers.
I don't know,
Okay.
they sold it, got rid of all that stuff. It was apparently a mess. But they had these awesome lodges, or like it's got one big lodge that has like 9 rooms in it and a shared kitchen in the bottom, and you can rent the rooms like a hotel room. I think it's like $105 a night. And the rooms are nice. They don't have TV in them or anything, but super nice. Like it looks like a cabin when you go into it, and they have individual bathrooms. Obviously heat and AC. Like it's nice. It's like staying at a hotel almost without TV.
No, we don't need TV. You're in the woods anyways.
And then they have various cabins all throughout this place. Now, today it's used as like a horse ranch. They do a lot of horse shows there, but wheeling has taken off there. Around this whole ranch, they have like 3 ponds. You can fish. They have a pool. They actually just opened a restaurant
So
on
it's like
the
a
premises.
full-on resort.
Yeah,
That's what
pretty
it
much,
Christ.
it pretty much is, and it's $20 a day to wheel. The cabins, like I rent it. My dad, I might have mentioned this earlier, but my dad is retired now, and he likes the Jeep stuff, and he's always had them off and on. But he finally bought one that like is like somewhat he can wheel. Like it's 35s, Rubicon 4-to-1 case, and locked and all that. And my mom and dad are actually coming, and me and my wife's gonna bring our son. So like my mom doesn't care about 4-wheeling at all, so she'll probably like hang out at the cabin, take care of my son, and my wife too. She'll probably ride some. She does like to go 4-wheeling, but like they can hang out and walk outside and like go see the horses and stuff while we go 4-wheeling all day.
Yeah.
It's all the wheeling is literally based around the property, and you're never far from the cabin, from your trailer, from anything. So you can wheel till lunchtime, and instead of like eating out on the trail somewhere, you can just ride back, make food, go back out. You need to fix something, it's all right there. There's a gas station out not far from the property, so I can't say enough good about it. Like, it's good. So we used to, and I'm not knocking Roush by no means, but we used to do our Labor Day trip. I'm sorry, Memorial Day trip to Roush every year. But it makes more sense to go to Good Evening just because everything's right there. We don't have to camp down the road, and and it's closer for us. It's only 3 hours away. And we really everyone just really enjoys it. Like I said, most of our club started in '97, so most of the people in the club have families now. So great place to bring your kids.
Yeah.
And they can ride dirt bikes, side by sides, whatever. They're not picky. So
That's nice.
it's not that much further than Roush. So I've been like lobbying to get that considered for the Web Wheelers Ball for a different place to go.
What's the variance in difficulty like there? Is it
I mean,
mild to wild, mostly
yes.
wild, mostly mild?
Yeah,
Okay.
mild to wild. Like you could, yeah, you can wheel whatever you want there and have fun, I would say. I will say this: we know some guys that are like into straight, buggies, four-wheel steer and stuff, and some of them guys cut some trails. So if that tells you anything, like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
at least the buggy guys are looking at it and cutting trails. That's when you know that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that a property's good, but that's when it's like getting the right attention that it
Yeah.
needs.
and it does have stuff for everybody. Like, you can definitely. Most of the stuff I would almost basically all of it. There's not a trail there. I don't think I wouldn't run like one at least lockers, But then, like they have a whole comp section. Like they have something called the playground there, and that's that's honestly one of my favorite places because I can just go in there and run stupid lines and enjoy, like just pick what I want to do, and that's where they run their comp course too. It's kind of like how Roush has a comp course, like it's off to its own and
Right up Cody's alley.
Oh yeah.
it's a really
And where's this again? West Virginia.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right outside of Somersville.
So technically closer than
West Virginia?
Tennessee.
It is, yes.
Ooh.
You come down. So y'all are coming from. How do y'all? If y'all would go to Tennessee, which way do you go?
81. 81 is the only way to do it.
So you probably have been by where I live. Like I live like the JMU exit here, and when you come through Harrisonburg, JMU exit. Like
I've blown past that at like 2 in the morning, or not
I'm 10 minutes
morning,
from there.
12
I'm 10 or 15. Yeah, I'm 10 or 15 minutes from there.
12 a.m.
So we jump on 81. We jump on 81 all the way to where you get on 64 west, and then you go like you're going towards Beckley, West Virginia, and you get off not far past Lewisburg, West Virginia. So basically, once you get out of Virginia, you're not 50 miles, maybe not even 50 miles from getting off the interstate, and then it's like 45 minutes right off the exit.
Where is it off of? You said it was
not far from Lewisburg. Yeah,
Oh,
Somersville. It's not the exit's not too far from Lewisburg. There's probably another way.
is that smack dab in the middle? No, never mind. I guess it sort of is.
Type in Canvas, West Virginia. That's what actually when you type the address in, that's what it is. I think you can actually Google map the Good Evening Ranch, and I think it'll come up.
It's telling me 9 hours. Oh shit, that ain't bad. Let's go.
No,
It's
Roush
way
is 7
further.
hours.
If you look at it on the map, I mean, I know where Tremont is roughly, and it looks like a much further distance. But I guess you're out of the chaos of the East Coast at that point.
Yeah, you literally.
So my only
you
point
literally-
with it. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I was gonna say once you hit 64, like 64 West, the traffic melts away. Like usually there's none.
Huh.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So
My point
from
was-
my house, the Good Evening Ranch is 10 hours.
What?
There's no way, Richie.
That's what it's telling me. I just Googled the Good Evening Ranch.
That's weird. It just
Yeah,
told me
I-
9.
That's what it's telling me.
Am I
There's
dyslexic?
way
Did I read something
quicker
wrong?
than- Because where they're talking about going to, I cleared that exit from Boston in 8 hours.
Yeah, it's saying
Really?
9 hours and 10 minutes for me.
Yeah,
Just
so
outside
8
of
hours.
Somersville,
8 hours from
right?
Boston's bullshit.
Somersville, yeah. I mean, Canvas is actually.
It's a 12-hour drive for me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right now on Google Maps, and it's telling me the quickest route is 9 hours 58 minutes.
I'm with you, Richie. That makes more sense. I mean, either way, if we're going out that direction, it's going to be a long ass drive. So,
The, the
I'm down for whatever.
the one other place, well, two other places really, that I want to kind of hype up is this isn't probably as good for you guys because it's going to be even more distance, but because it's like 4.5, 5 hours from me. But I'm sure y'all have heard of Hatfield McCoy Trails.
Yep.
Down.
I know about the hog folk versus the dog folk, though. I know about their story. I don't know about the trails.
Well, the trails. So it's a big side. Like all you hear people talk about Hatfield McCoys is side by side this, side by side that, 4-wheelers, ATVs and like dirt bikes and stuff. So, but they actually have three like truck place, well, Jeep, whatever, wheel and rig places. But the two, I haven't been to the newest one, but the two, they're like south of Charleston. One of them's just outside of Charleston, West Virginia, and the next one's like 45 minutes. The one that's like right outside is Ivy. There's Ivy and there's Bear Wallow, and I'm trying to set up with my club this year to go to both. Hit Bear Wallow first, and then come. Bear Wallow is
Literally drive to Virginia and slit your throat if I don't get a phone call.
Oh,
Okay,
hey,
well,
Jesus
hey,
Christ!
I will call you.
All right.
Oh my
Fuck,
God!
I would too.
People don't want to
No,
hang out with you that bad, Luke. Holy fuck, man!
That's kind of violent. I mean,
No, see, that's why he said that, Cody, is because people don't want to hang out with them.
Exactly.
Oh,
Richie
man.
understands it.
so you death threat them, and then they'll want to hang out with you.
Then they want to hang out with you.
That's
So
called
you
like
gotta
bullying
be-
or something. You can't do that.
Listen, whether it's because of mutual enjoyment or out of fear from one party, hanging out is hanging out.
It is. He is correct. No, but that's not that far for me to make a road trip. I think Ivy for the Hatfield McCoy trails is 6.5 hours.
Yeah, so that's not bad at all. So, Bear Wallow's a solid day and maybe 2 days. And then Ivy you can have fun at for a long time. Or for a couple, definitely for like a solid 3 days, maybe more. Like if you wheel all day and hit all the trails, like you can have fun for a solid probably 3 days. The cool thing about both of those trails, or the whole trail system rather, you pay $50. You do have to wear a helmet, but you can wear like basically a more or less
Bike
a
helmet. Yeah.
snowboarding helmet.
A brain bucket.
Yeah. And you slap a sticker on your helmet. $50 is for the year. So you can come back all you want. And you can run anything in their trail system. And the really cool thing is, in West Virginia, or at least through the Hatfield McCoy system, you can, like Bear Wallow, the cabins we stay at actually are right at a trailhead. So you can go in, but you can come out at another exit or another trailhead, and it comes out in like downtown Logan, West Virginia. You can drive whatever you want. You can drive a 4-wheeler if you want to, and like hit up the McDonald's drive-through, or like go to Advanced, or you can drive your rig. I drove straight slam stickies, like just cruising down the road, no windshield on my YJ, and like you can hit up whatever you need, and then go back to wheeling. You can go back to camp, whatever you got to do. It's really awesome.
So I stand behind my threat, but I was incorrect. It's 5 hours and 40 minutes.
So you're really not that much further away than me.
No, not at all. So if there's the only thing that I ask is that I'm allowed to sit by the fire with a 12-pack of Yingling.
No,
Fine.
that's not allowed.
Unacceptable.
You're gonna sit in the corner,
Man.
away from the fire in the dark, where nobody can see you.
Okay. Do I have
That's
to
what you
park
get
my
for
Jeep
death
up
threats.
against the wall and like look at the wall while
If you're gonna
strapped
threaten
into my
everybody to
Jeep?
hang out, yes. Yes. you
Okay.
Yep.
I threatened you to get you to come and hang out too, and look at where that got you.
You haven't
Nowhere.
killed me yet, motherfucker.
No, because you actually decided to hang out.
Yeah, that's
West Virginia. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna continue with the rambling.
I was just going to say West Virginia wheeling is a different. I don't know. It's kind of on your waist. Like to me, it gets into the southern wheeling. Like your first stop. Like it's different. It's kind of weird to me. You might think I sound crazy, but it's funny how the rocks change from like
Dude, I get it.
like Gore. So you all probably aren't familiar with Gore too much, but Gore's 40
I've heard of
minutes.
Gore.
Okay, 40. No, it's about an hour and a half for me. About an hour and a half. Winchester's 45, so yeah, almost an hour and a half. So that's one place we'll also hit up for a day trip a lot. That's where you really start, or that's like the last stop to me before you start seeing the rocks kind of change. Like they're very similar to Rauschs, I think. Gore is, and then once you start coming south, like more than that, it's like it's more washed river rock, like red clay and red rock. You know what I mean? Like it's different, and I don't know. There's smooth and slick rocks, and I don't know. They make for a good time. They really do.
Yeah, that
Wind Rock's very similar, and obviously Harlan.
Yeah, yeah.
Harlan's weird, dude. It's like fucking this gross slime ball mud.
Oh yeah,
Everywhere, and it's all different colors too. You end up with like 5 layers worth of dirt on your Jeep, just from all the different spots. It's like you get a light color, and then you get a dark color, and then you get another light color. It's pretty funny.
we did a guy in so there's a guy that part of our, I guess we call it our sister club, I guess, but Baltimore. They're from Baltimore, and he's set up a cool trip before, and it's like ultimate adventure style. And the first time I ever did it, this was one reason why I kept tags on my Jeep. We hit up. You had to drive everywhere. But we did Gore. We did that private property I was telling you about in West Virginia that my buddy has.
Mhm.
We did Hotz Mountain, and then we run George Washington National Forest. But the cool thing was we had to drive everywhere in ultimate adventure fashion.
Yep.
So I did like 600 miles in my YJ, 600 or 700 miles all together, and like it was just a super cool trip. But yeah, when you got back, you had like 18 different shades of mud on your.
Yeah. Just
But we-
go into all the different spots.
Yeah, we actually did the trip one other time, but we didn't have a high turnout, so we just trailered everywhere, and it was like 3 or 4 of us, and we actually did Harlan, Windrock, the Flats, which no longer exists. It was in North Carolina.
Mhm.
That was a cool spot. It's bad
Yeah, I
that
haven't heard
closed,
of that one,
but
but
yeah, it's gone now, but it was pretty cool. But it's just cool to see Southern wheeling versus going a little more north.
it's definitely different. It's a completely different style of
Yeah, for sure.
You need to approach it just completely different. I mean, it makes total sense why everybody does the high horsepower, big tire stuff down there. It's just whereas around here you can get away with a tiny buggy without a ton of horsepower. I mean, you still need to get on it, but it's tighter. You can't have some of the fat rigs that they've got out there. Like you can't have a full-on bouncer in most cases. You can probably get away with it, but it's rough.
But I watched I watched some of your all's videos and like Collins, and you all do like to think you're rock bouncers.
Yes,
so.
yes. There's some spots.
I mean, you can't deny that.
Yep. No, I can't. It's pretty fun to just sit on it sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
Listen, our vehicle manufacturers gave us like what 6,000 or 7,000 RPM limits there,
no.
and you know what we like
yeah, like 7.5,
gauges. Sorry, gauges. Gauges.
It doesn't
the
go
actual
past
gauge
5 or
goes
you got
up
a
to
problem.
fix. Whatever. But we like to use as much of what we're provided with.
Exactly. It's like buying a
I think-
Hellcat and only using the 500 horsepower key instead of the 700 horsepower key.
Is that a thing?
I paid for the tack. I'm going to use the tack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
It's just
I
like
don't
my
know.
old Focus. I paid for a whole speedometer. I'm going to use the whole
Oh
speedometer.
my god.
My dad. I told Luke this the other day. My dad is ultimately convinced. Like, you know, he's old school. Like he changing oil with like he really like studies oil and like tries to put the right thing and everything and like really cares about that kind of stuff. And he laughs at me because I would like dump like Walmart like super tech in my motors and they just bounce the rev limiter. And he's like, I think I'm convinced that you just have to like run the piss out of 4.0s for them to survive, which I know Luke's not the right case for saying that, but
Can confirm.
knock
Luke's
on
not
wood,
the
I
right
haven't,
case for a lot of shit.
knock on wood, I've broke a lot of things, but I shouldn't say this. I've never blown up a 4.0.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
hit it a little harder.
No, Luke is an outlier. He
Mine-
buys these grandma owned 200,000 mile, like literally worst case scenario for a 4.0 and expects them to last, and then wonders why the crankshaft breaks in half.
I will say one thing. My YJ now, it's got 200,000 on it. It's probably one of the best run 4.0s I've ever had. But I have run it on the rev limiter a long time twice. This has happened twice, and both at Good Evening Ranch, weirdly enough. And I run it for a while on the rev limiter a couple times, and it like got noisy at the top end. I let off and it quieted it up, but it scared me a little bit. It just, I don't know what happened. Sounds funky, but it came back to life. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't question it. I don't
Yeah.
question it.
No, it's better to not.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, just make this an editing mark. I don't know how he's echoing through me. It's only him.
No,
I
it's
don't know if
fine.
anybody-
If I see that happen, I just mute you because it's
Bro.
it's not for long.
I literally have him down to 10.
It's your
It's not even
headset. You got to get a headset.
Or I could just fucking do this. Give me one sec.
I'm going to use this opportunity to rip a quick piss. I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh my god. I mean, we're at, just to clarify, we're almost at 2 hours, so
Oh
keep
shit!
that in mind.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
We got to get on and talk about the
Do this. Is this better? Or is this worse?
That's fine. I mean, it doesn't use. It definitely is different. I would just leave it as it is. Otherwise, it's going to be jarring.
Like, that's
it's easier for
gonna be
me to
jarring?
just whenever I spot you backfeeding, I mute you, and I unmute when nobody's talking because then I assume
Oh,
you're going to be
gotcha.
trying to ask something. So
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
I
don't-
don't.
I'll
I mean,
just-
I could just. Is it really that much of a difference?
yes, it's a massive difference.
Like worse or better?
Worse. I mean,
Worse.
not your audio sounds shitty when you do that.
My audio sounds shitty right now.
It used to.
Yeah.
You're changing things.
No, I'm just holding a microphone. So I am changing things based off the fact if I'm moving it closer to my mouth or further away from my mouth.
Yes.
Fuck my life.
Jesus Christ. Alrighty.
Well, then I'm just gonna.
All right. Well, let's roll back into it. Where the fuck did we leave off?
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to take a piss.
Alrighty. That's not a bad idea. I'm gonna go take a piss.
Test. Test. Test.
Better.
Okay.
Much better.
I don't know. Nice.
Noise.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually don't have this many problems with echoing. Like, I do have problems with echoing, but like, it's like a whole new level of problems with echoing.
It's fine. You ordered the Sennheiser like a couple weeks ago, so
No, I haven't.
I'm back.
I got bills to pay, bro. I can't spend $100 on a fucking headset. I got Jeep parts, bills, and saving for Tennessee. Headset ain't on the list. I'm gonna just buy the $2 fucking mount so that way I can just use my boom mic again and figure all that shit out again. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Sadly. Just for the time
Welcome back,
being,
Colton.
back
Hey.
on some shit.
So, on that note, should we pick back up and... Oh, never mind. Graham's not here.
No, but let's just we gotta work. We are almost at 2.5 or 2 hours, so
Yeah, we can start. Colton, this is not a dig against you. You've been fucking awesome. But we're going to start tapering down in the next 15 minutes to half hour.
no,
that way-
we need to start sticking to this. No offense to Colton, but we always say our limit is 2 hours, and we always
2.5.
push past.
And we're at
No.
1:45.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's at 15 minutes.
2.5 was
Hey,
great.
well, I'm glad I was interesting enough to talk to for
Oh yeah.
that long. So that makes
back.
me happy.
Yeah. And Cody, it's been 2.5 hours since we had that meeting
Alrighty, I'm back.
Meeting.
Wait, what
where
meeting?
we all talked about setting limits on times.
I thought it was 2 hours this whole time.
No, 2.5.
2.5.
Okay, well then no, I'm good. I'm still good on time and all that. I'd like to try to stick to that as much as possible because we never actually stick to it.
Yeah, I think it's fine if we go over in most cases. Everybody, I mean, I don't know. If
I'm
there's
good until 9, so that's kind of where.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah. Same here. So, let's get back into it right now. Minor technical difficulties,
No, it
but
was an intermission. It was a pee break and minor. Well, now you said it. Yeah, minor technical difficulties, bodily functions, technical difficulties, the good stuff.
Technically speaking, bodily functions can be a technical
Yeah,
difficulty.
true. It is. It is
Gross.
technical. Did we leave at a good point to start talking about the competition stuff? I've been
either
itching.
way, let's just roll into it.
Alrighty, competition
Yeah.
stuff. Tell us about that. You've hinted at that
All
a
right.
few times, and if we don't ask about it,
Oh.
people are going to get on our case.
So so really the first time it ever kind of interested me was where, like Sam was talking about, where I know that he did some stuff at Roush, and I thought that was cool. The first time I ever saw that, and it kind of started for me with Prose, which I've talked about before, and I know Luke's asked me about a couple times before. They used to do a small little comp. You just basically cone dodged, and they like had to run these courses, and it was pretty cool. Me and a buddy of mine did it a couple times, and it was fun. But I didn't do it for a while after that. And then when I got hanging out with Shenandoah Valley Four Wheelers, well, when I got hanging out with them, they did.
Hello?
I think we may have lost you right there.
He gone. Send him back.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't.
Nope, there
I
he is.
lost
There we
it
go.
for a
You're
second.
back
Can
now.
you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yep, keep going.
Where did I fall off at?
I've done.
Shenandoah Valley 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So when I started hanging out with Shenandoah Valley Four Wheelers, I got doing, or they were doing RC rocks. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that at Rauschs Creek.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't get into RC rocks necessarily because that was like an individual comp. Started hanging out with them. We started doing the club comp, which is you get 4 rigs together from your club, and you all 4 compete. But you can compete at different levels, like they do, like a class 1, 2, 3, 4. My rig currently sits at like a class 3, which kind of sucks because it's built too big. It's built big enough to be a class 3, but it's like it's going to get. I mean, it doesn't, but it can get its ass handed to it sometimes because it's not to the level that some of the
Well,
the
it's
top
not using the
class
modern
3s are.
standard.
Yeah, I don't
stuff.
have, like-
Yeah, driving
I don't have like
experience can beat that, but you know,
true.
only to so much of an extent sometimes, especially
Yeah.
with spring.
Like I don't
under.
have. Oh, come on now! Spring under is awesome.
Does that ever hang you up? Sorry, this is another tangent. This is another one I've been hanging on to. You don't have issues with that?
I don't have issues with it. I really don't. I don't know. It works. I like it. It works really good.
It probably is
They're
incredibly stable.
built-in fucking ramps for the entire undercarriage.
Yeah.
Basically.
So are my 3-link floor control arms.
All right, yeah. So back to competition.
Yeah, so I don't have like front dig or anything like that, so that's kind of a hindrance.
Is that used a bunch in competitions?
Yeah, you can in certain classes, yeah. So I actually did start in the XJ doing club comp, and actually that was like its last hurrah before I scrapped it was club comp. But then as years have come here, I'm still doing club comp here and there. But like I said, a couple people in our club do the X Rock series, which is considered a professional rock crawling comp.
Huh.
Can you get money from it?
Not yet.
Then it's not
I think. Well, they.
I was just more saying like the definitive term. Sorry, that's.
I mean, yeah. I know. It. Yeah, you would think you would, but like, it's like the East Coast. It's supposed to be like the East Coast version of We Rock.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we've talked to Crazy K's who do the We Rock stuff.
Yeah. So
you just professionally have fun.
I'm not going to say it's exactly like We Rock. Don't let me confuse it, but it's sort of the East Coast
it's
version.
The East Coast interpretation.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we have two guys that are into it pretty good in our club, or actually 3, and they do really well at it. So it's something I would like to eventually get into. I've helped a lot with it, like just went and hung out, helped work on stuff, helped set for the RC Rock stuff. For the club comps, I've helped set up courses and things like that. It's pretty fun, and to be honest with you, like it's a good way to meet other people that like 4-wheeling. Like,
yep.
Like if you're into something like that, you're probably pretty diehard into it, and it's people you see. Like you'll go to other comps and other parks, and you'll see these people because they're into wheeling. Like, they're not half-assed.
Yeah, they're not just there to buy a $300 Cherokee and beat it in the first rock garden they see and then leave it there.
Exactly. But that's pretty much it as far as competing. It's just something I kind of want to eventually probably venture my current YJ into to something I'd more or less dedicate that rig to that.
I always found that to be kind of interesting, the whole class system for some of that, and the We Rock, X Rock, or the RC Rock stuff. I mean, that all sounds, it's kind of interesting because, and if I had listened and been on the Dizzy episode, which was 2 episodes ago at this point, I probably would have gotten more of a taste of sort of what goes on with that. But I think the whole class system is really cool because it you don't sometimes with, I don't want to say with my rig, but I feel like with just a general off-road rig, you don't really know exactly when to stop. And those classes, it's like, okay, you need to build this, and that's what you get to use. And there you can vary how you're building that, but it's just kind of an interesting challenge in that, right? So I'd love to do
it.
To
me, I mean, the biggest challenge, honestly, from what I've learned from it all is, driving. Your driving skill is important, but honestly, probably the biggest thing I've learned from it is your relationship with your spotter. Like, we run radios when we do it, and that back and forth communication is like key to making it, because in a lot of those cases, the small cone, you're coming up to it, and it's like, how close are you to hitting this? Like, you can't see it, not unless you're in like a full tube buggy or something like that. Like, it's really hard to see especially on your your right front or rear. Like, you can't see that cone.
Yeah.
And it's all about cone dodging. So that communication you have is key. I mean,
Yeah, communication is key always with the spotter, but I imagine in competition it's even more so.
yeah, and your throttle response, like, a lot of the courses, especially, and you all know this, y'all been to Roush, you played on the comp course, I'm sure. Like
Yep.
a lot of those comps, not all, but most of those comps I've been to, they're so sticky. Like people are worried, oh, my rig sucks, I'm not going to make it. Like, no, you don't worry about your rig because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have a traction issue at all. You're really not. It's just be smart driving and work with your spotter.
Yeah,
spotter
and that's the problem.
Yeah, imagine having a good spotter. Luke, you leaving has been a big. You're definitely the best spotter in our club.
Whoa,
I'd say.
I do decent. All right, give me a little bit of credit. I'm not as good. I'm nowhere near as good.
You're
as
better
you.
than me, but you're no Luke. I'll put it that way. It's hard to.
Oh, hell no. He has like fucking 5 years of wheeling on me. You know,
I
I just
don't
try
know.
my best to speak clearly.
Luke's got this. I don't know. He's always been able to, um, just sort of identify exactly what you're getting hung up on, and then
Mhm.
translate that into words that you can understand from the driver's seat. That just sort of gives you the visualization, right? I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
how else to describe it. I guess
100% agree. 100%.
So I'm going to use this opportunity to throw
Sure,
just a
fuck
little
off.
bit of shade at you, Graham, for that.
Oh yeah, do it.
There was
He doesn't get
one
enough shit. Do it.
there was one point in time, I almost want to say it was at Mabel. I could be wrong about the location, but you were spotting for me,
okay.
and I kept getting hung up on something. And I looked to you, and you literally just looked me dead in the eye, was just like, wow, and then just stood there.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad. I'm sort of just like, why aren't you going? I could definitely work on my spotting skills. I will not lie.
You want me to give you the secret?
What's
The-
the secret?
the sauce?
Look, we're gonna hear it here. The secret to good spotting.
Just act like the driver has balls and then convince them that they do. Explain what they're hung up on and tell them that they're going to make it with with
That's actually a
the
good point.
solid monotone that you always have and a little bit of anger that you're stuck on the same obstacle for the fourth fucking try, and come on, I know you're better than that, and they go up it. It's amazing.
Richie,
It
I'm a
even
little-
works on Caitlin.
So to sum it up, you're talking about disappointed dad level.
Wow, that's low.
no,
I don't know if I
think
hit
that's what he's-
disappointed dad level, but
Yeah.
You do.
Richie, I'm a little upset that you have a specific moment in time that you can remember I sucked at spotting. I think every time I spot, I suck.
No,
but,
there's one specific time that you can remember where I was bad at spotting. Do you remember?
no.
anytime you get in front of
Oh,
a
you
Jeep,
mean the
Brookridge.
time at What do you mean at Brookridge? What did
Brookridge, when you were stuck on that rock in the center of your diff or the center of your Jeep, and you were just spinning on it like a top.
Oh,
Yeah, that time. Yeah.
yeah, that messed my cross member up. Thanks. Like really
I literally
bad.
just didn't have the words to. I was just like, bro, you're in it. I don't know how to help you. Figure it out. Like, I'm on the outside, and I still think you're fucked. You think you're fucked. We're both thinking you're fucked. I don't know how to help.
Yeah,
Like, that's literally where I was
To give you
at.
some perspective, I was going down this. It was like this little offshoot. It had some big boulders, but that was about it. And I ended up putting my front cross member right on this rock, this pointy-ish rock. It was not pointy enough to mess anything up, but pointy enough that if you got the belly stuck on it, you basically had almost no wheels hitting the ground. And I basically just spun the thing like 90 degrees and just couldn't get off. They had to winch me straight out the way I was pointing, like through the trees to the back to the trail. It was that bad. It was
That's
it was a
terrible.
rough one.
Need some UHMW on the belly. Like that makes all the difference. It just slides right off.
Yeah,
No problem.
I've always I've thought about doing it. I really ought to do a better belly pan.
I did a flat belly on my YJ, and that's what I did. I skimmed it with UHMW, and it's like I've never been stuck on the belly.
What was the words you just said? UHNW?
UHMW.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's basically cutting board material.
Oh, that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And
cool.
it works that well. It's like it's rigid enough that it's not going to just crack
Well, you
under.
put it on. Usually, you back it with metal or something. You put it bracing in there. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
So
a-
I just bolted it to my 1/4 inch flat belly.
Yeah. So you're just
Ah.
looking for the slipperiness.
Yeah,
Slippery.
exactly. It's
Yep.
just it. You almost cannot get hung up on it. Like it'll just slide right off. If it's got any direction,
Yeah, it'll push you.
any angle at all, it's gonna slide right off. Yeah.
I don't know how much
That makes
stuff
sense.
costs. I'd love to get some.
I've seen that done on sliders too. Like for both side
one-
panels.
Yeah, one of our guys has it. Not one of our guys, but one of the guys we've wheeled with before has it.
I've seen it a few
And-
times. I don't know where they get it all though. Be interesting.
Metal suppliers can
Metal
generally
suppliers
get it.
carry the cutting board plastic.
Yeah,
You
because
can
it's
generally
used in-
order it through them.
Huh.
It's used
It's
in
industrial.
Yep,
Gotcha.
it's industrial based material.
I had a flat cross member on my XJ, but no cutting board material on it. No UHMW, and it. I had been stuck on the belly still, even with it being flat, lots of times. So
Yeah. I've got a particularly annoying cross member that likes to get stuck, and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to change it before it's all back together. So that may have to get pushed back. So we'll see. I'd love to get rid of it. It's just it's the Clayton cross member, the newer style, and it's good, but it's not flat. It's got a lot of stuff you can get hung up on. So
Well, you also pushed your links 2 inches in front of it, which doesn't
yeah,
help.
I'm getting rid of that. I think I'm gonna put the links. I think I can get away with the links being in the factory crossmember mounts. So if I can do that, I'm gonna keep that and just run it for now because I'm fast realizing that I'm running out of time to finish the front and do what I need to do in the back to get it going. So it's not
Did
what I
you
want
like
to do,
the-
but
did you like the Clayton links?
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't other than the packaging. It works. It's not I wouldn't say I'm overly impressed with it. Any 3-link kit is gonna get you there. It's all,
Yeah,
especially if you're not building it yourself, you're not gonna get the perfect angles, right? Like, cause Luke's got however much separation on the front.
7.5.
And what's your anti-dive number?
Up front, it's like, God, you're making me think.
I know.
I think it's 120 up front and 120 out back.
Okay. Yeah, because mine is like 85-ish, 90, and I mean it's pretty decent, but
I
I want my upper link could be a little taller, and the layout that they would have given me with the Clayton crossmember was just never where it should have been. And then when I went to the Dana 50 in the front versus the 30, I had to push the links out because the mounting of the brackets on the axle was it wasn't angled right, so it was
And the
just all going to be
pumpkin.
out of whack. Yeah. So it doesn't really work great for a 1-ton swap, but I
Yeah.
think it's going to work for the new axles, surprisingly. If it doesn't, I have the metal to build a new one, but I'm just trying to save time at this point. But if you're looking for like a pre-built system, I would buy the cross member and just build the links and be done with it. It's
Oh,
not
hey,
a bad
Cody.
kit. Yeah, like Cody did.
Cody's setup works pretty damn well.
Yeah, I mean it works. I mean I wouldn't say it's damn well, but it works.
only
Compared
thing
to 95% of XJs, that wheel, damn
I mean-
well.
It's also the fact that I'm not a complete moron. Like I'm like 1/3 of a moron, but like in the sense of like I'm not even a full moron, just like a third. You know what I mean?
And then you also had the other half of an idiot helping you build it. So we got
Yeah.
like between the two of us, almost like what would a half plus a third be? You know, almost 3/4 of not an idiot.
Anyways, yes,
You know-
but then again, like it also was like a complete and utter copy of your rig. Like, I mean, my control arms were just barely shorter than yours, so
Longer.
to be longer. Well,
What's
either
your length
way, 36 lower, 39
Oh,
upper.
that's nothing. I'm going to 37s, I think.
You going to fuck you, all right? You know what?
Yes,
I wanted to
30
feel good for 1 second.
I've got 33-inch lowers up front with a 40-inch upper, and then in the rear,
Are you
I've
measuring
got
eye to eye? Or are you measuring
eye to eye.
Okay. Yeah, mine actually
And
is
then-
longer than that, but in the bottom a little bit. I stretched it a little more than it used to be.
I'm just measuring tube. I'm not even measuring eye to eye.
Oh, well,
Out back is
Yeah.
so we're probably roughly the same if you're measuring tube.
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
have any stretch. Are you stretching yours?
Not at
People
all.
stretch.
Mine's been stretched, and yours is definitely stretched if you've got 37
No,
inch
it's
links.
not. It's
Yeah.
barely. No,
Yeah, it
it's not. It's barely. Is it
got a
actually?
full
'Cause I don't
inch
think I've
and a
ever
half.
actually
Axle.
measured my wheelbase. To be honest with you,
You can
you
push
got a
the-
full inch and a half.
dude,
Yeah.
that's more than my dick.
That's
Wow.
pretty impressive.
And then this is gonna sound really fucked up, but in the rear of my rig, I've got 31.5 lowers with 38.5 uppers.
Horrible control arms. Restart. Junk. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know much
But-
about building a rear. I haven't done it yet, so it's
But
hard to
to-
say, but
To be fair, yes, you're churching up mine, and it does help because I've also really done a good job of listening when like when I first started wheeling, I didn't really know all that much, obviously. Like when I first met you guys, and then now I have grown exponentially to the point of like I've tried my best to take everything that everybody tells me and learn from it. So kind of taking that into consideration along with the idea of using a already not perfect, but a really damn good setup that you masterminded, my rig works pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
I just expanded on what Colton did.
Oh.
this is
So
back
it-
to this again. Back to this hand holding where we circle around and say, "Who
Yeah,
built
it's a
the
big
first
old-
cookie cutter XJ?"
In my defense, I did end up going to a rock crawler 3-link on the XJ at one time. I did go like long arms at one time, so
Hmm.
it wasn't always on short arms. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
before-
the next best thing you can do once you've done all the suspension stuff you can.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah,
it's a
I
world
mean,
of
there's
difference.
it's funny you go look at like, well, I don't know if it's the thing anymore, but like back in the day, back in the Jeep forum days, I remember reading the TJ section a lot, and guys would run like they were die hard short arm people as long as you stay at like 2.5 inch of lift, and they made them work really good.
I still
and
feel
I'm-
like you have binding issues with that.
You
With a
do
4-link on a
do.
short arm 4-link, that just
you
doesn't.
can make it work, but I just think for how easy, not easy, but like for how little it takes to make like to do a 3-link, it changes the whole entire rig, meaning like the actual suspension feel under flex and how much control you have. It like I don't know, like actually being level when my 35-inch tall tire is 36 inches off the ground, it just changes the whole dynamic. I mean, like I could
Mhm.
never go back to a short arm rig ever
Yeah.
after doing this.
Yeah, I
So-
agree.
But it does work. Don't get me wrong. Like you can still have an incredible rig with short arms, but just the level that you bump up from doing that, it's unchangeable.
Yeah, you get a better ride quality. You get more suspension droop. It's just a more traction.
To me, it wasn't even ever that.
Yeah.
I could max out 11-inch travel shocks, which are what's in the front of my Jeep now. It was the feel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is, and that's 100% it, and that's why that's something that I was trying to explain to JB because he's never seen. So he won a waffle and won a really, really insane crawler, a friend of ours. And he's never seen that rig wheel. Well, the few times that I have, it literally blown me away. It blew me away, pardon me, because that's totally not the right grammar for that sentence, with how well it really did. And it's something that I was trying to explain to him before when he was on like a long arm setup with radius arms. It's just like changing. And again, Luke could do a better job of actually explaining the science behind it with the anti-squat and this and that and the role of the center of the axle and how much your flux capacitor fucking pings off when you're doing 33 miles an hour in first gear, like whatever. He didn't get to fully understand it, and I cannot wait for the first time that he takes that rig out and he just understands completely of like, holy fuck, why didn't I do this to my own rig back then? Like, obviously not the 3-link and all the craziness, but like an actual full long arm 3-link setup.
Yeah.
But
no, that rig's insane. It's gonna be a huge change for him from his XJ.
he has no idea. It's gonna be great. But anyways, I have a quick question about your beginnings of the internet with wheeling and all that stuff. Why did you feel that you needed to share what you were doing? You know what I mean? Like, as you say that it's nothing crazy, yada yada yada, and like we say, oh, it's a cookie cutter style, but you had a feeling that people would care, and you were fucking right. What made you do it?
I mean, back in that day, like 2006. So I looked back not too long ago. I actually like joined Jeep Forum in like 05 or 06. And that, what got me wanting to even start a build thread was, I looked back on, like I would look at, drool over pirate builds all the time. And like, I thought they were so cool. And, there's so much tech back then, like not like Facebook and Instagram today, like there's no tech, but, and I thought that was cool. And I was like, man, I want to start a build thread. But, if you read Pirate, you knew like, you're kind of a bitch if like you didn't have tons, so you wouldn't get on Pirate and post your build unless you was like not scared to get berated for it. So,
you were action fab.
Yeah, action fab of half ton.
Yep.
Or stock axles. But on Jeep Forum, and I don't know if you all were on there. I know Luke was, but like
I never had an account, and I didn't get into it early enough for the forum scene to like still be really thriving. But I've read through a lot of it. That stuff is, I mean, it's amazing how long that stuff stuck around for, and is like still so how relevant it is, which is kind of unfortunate. Like that the fact that some of these old builds are still like what people are referencing when they go back to look at stuff, because it's just not what people do.
To this day, I still go back and try to grab tech off of like something I need to do to my rig now or something like that. I'm like, man, I'm sure like I can find this on Pirate or but like back then I thought, I always thought build threads were cool. So I was like, well, I'm gonna start one on Jeep Forum. And I don't think I was like the only one doing that or anything. Like everyone was doing that, but to be honest, other than I know Sam was on there, there weren't really any more, dare I say, built XJs. Like Sam's had half ton or had a 44 and a 60, I think.
Yep.
And that was super badass during that time. Like not many people was doing stuff like that. I'm not gonna say no one because there was ton builds then, but they were a lot fewer and far between.
Yep.
But what he was doing was cool, and I was like, well, mine's not tons, but mine's like, I'm doing something different, and people back then, 06 through 08, around that era. And let me take this back. I wasn't posting about my Jeep and probably until I didn't really start building that one until 2010 or 2012, somewhere in there. But even then, low center of gravity was like some mythical magic that that's stupid. You can't.
You gotta run. Clear the tires.
You gotta run 6.5 inches lift to get any flex, and And I was like, no, that's stupid because I've already thrown, some cheap ass hockey pucks for bump stops up in the front of this thing and put some Daystar upper bumps in it and built some, spring pad or pads in the back for bump stops, and like this worked. Like I you just break out a measuring tape and make your 10-inch or 12-inch shock work and make sure it maxes out. And that's what I did. And even on short arms, like, sucked, but like I was pretty much maxing out the shocks, and that was cool because no one did that on, like, that was apparently impossible on 3 inches and 35-inch tires.
Yeah.
But
So to jump in there real quick, because I was on the forums around that time, it was just kind of something you did. Like, you wanted to document your stuff so other people could see what you were doing. And, at that time, the Facebook scene wasn't a thing. So instead of posting a picture and getting, like, 100 comments in 10 hours, you would post it on the forum and you would get 15 thought out replies in 2 days.
yeah, and and people would ask you questions about what you did. That felt pretty cool, and like you would explain to them or whatever, and then it's not like it's not the like system of today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's Facebook. I had an account on Facebook, I guess. I was a senior in high school, so like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. I'm 31, so I'm getting old. But
man,
yeah,
just kidding.
But like back then, no one, like, I don't remember Facebook groups like Club XJ or Beat Not Baby. Like, they weren't on Facebook. Now, what I do remember is Sam and a couple guys started I Hate It When I Take the Doors Off My XJ, and I got roped into that. Sam asked me to help with that because I was posting some memes here and there, and I got to help with that. And at one time, like, that was thriving really well at one time, and like it was so cool. Like, I remember posting like some meme about my Jeep. I can't even remember. Like, I made a couple different ones, but he getting like 14,000 or 1,400 likes, and I was like, that is so badass. Like, I'm like, likes are stupid, and then you get like 1,400 likes on something, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like,
yeah, it's that
this is getting shared everywhere. Yeah. So, but at the same time, like, now, like, today, it's so weird. Like, today, I don't even. You see all the people posting their rigs on Instagram and getting Insta famous and stuff like that, but I don't even care about that anymore. Like, I think my Instagram is set on like private now, and I have like 800 followers, and like, I don't, it doesn't. I don't know. I guess I miss that. To me, it was way more fun to post my build thread and talk about it than it is to post some pictures of a Jeep crawling over some rocks. Like, I thought it was way cooler.
Yeah,
back then.
That's the thing, is I think the cool builds end up getting buried on Facebook and Instagram because all you end up seeing is the ones that are shoved down your throat, which are visually appealing, but then when you look into them, and I'm not saying all of them are, and there are a lot of really well built rigs that are Insta famous, but there are also a lot that really aren't that well built, and really there's nothing special about them. They just have 1 tons and 40s. Yeah, or wheeled.
Or wheeled.
That's the other thing. They'll take a picture of the like brand new build. It's like, okay, well, it's not a raisin. Like, I've been building mine for 6 years, and it just doesn't. You can't have one that looks like that. It just doesn't happen unless you replace every body panel and you're incredibly anal about it.
Exactly.
And
Mess in a fitness or whatever on Instagram, his is super clean, but he doesn't wheel it. But I mean, still, it's still super clean.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's a different style of build. That's a I don't know where I'd even put
It's just
it.
impressive in a sense because everything's meticulous.
Yeah.
Everything is
He's
perfect.
got the clean silver XJ in Massachusetts.
And
Ship
yeah.
wagon.
And there, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying more in the sense of just like it's impressive because it is a Cherokee, but honestly, I bet it's probably the only one that you'd probably get 20K for just being a Cherokee.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's that nice of a Cherokee.
Most of them aren't. Most of them are. I mean, you're thinking about these 1-ton swaps, and it's yeah. You have a clean body with 1-tons, and now anybody with a welder and hand tools can put a 1-ton under a Cherokee, and it's okay. But can you actually drive it? Can you do cool things with, like, I don't know. It's different now.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Which is cool that there's that's what I love about like things now. Like aftermarket support is so great that someone with hand tools and a welder can put one under it.
Yep.
That's awesome. But and I don't have any hate towards anyone that's like building a ton rig and they don't want to wheel it and keep it clean. Like that is cool.
Yeah, they're
Like,
incredibly
if you just
reliable.
want street,
I was surprised.
and street drive it, like that's cool. But it's so funny to me, like you see people that build super clean, painted all panels, all this kind of stuff, like all the armor's painted or whatever, and it's like flexing out and like in the woods somewhere, and I'm like, bro, you live on the East Coast, and there's no like if you wheel on the East Coast at all, that's not the case. Like if you wheel hard, it's gonna be smashed up, scratched up, like it's.
I wouldn't even say wheeled hard because I wouldn't consider I wheel hard and my shit box is beat up pretty good. I mean, there's also a level of ain't care that I have. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can vividly remember one time I was like locked in between a rock and a ledge in front of me, and I was like, "Can I back up?" And everybody's like, "No, there's a rock there." And I'm like, "I'm asking, can I back up?" They're like, "You're gonna blow your shit out." And I just put it in reverse. It's like crunch. I'm like, "Well, guess what? I'm making it up the obstacle now." Like, and I don't know, but I wouldn't consider I wheel hard. No.
And this ties in really well though with the conversation we were having earlier. Like, I feel like four-wheeling wouldn't be where it's at without the internet, but I also feel like the internet killed four-wheeling.
Yeah, I see that.
It's a double-edged sword.
Because, like, it's sick that we have this aftermarket for it, but, on the other hand, the people that were out there and doing the stupid shit back in 2012 are the reason that the sport grew. Like, I've already said it, but you affecting me affected 3 other rigs here, and then that kind of spread, and like more and more parks are either opening or closing, but I honestly feel like we have more places to wheel now than we've ever had before.
Oh, for sure. But there's one thing I do want to say to pretty much everything you just said, if you don't mind. It is, like you said, like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. And one thing, and maybe this is the old man coming out in me, but I like to drink beer at camp and stuff like that. I still like to do all that kind of stuff and have fun. But one thing that personally scares me with social media is and this year's King of the Hammers was a fine example. And our club is we are part of Virginia Four-Wheel Drive Association, which helps keep public lands open. And I'm not like hating on Beat Not Baby or anybody like that. Like I love like that's some of the funniest stuff ever. Like the stuff that they post on the Facebook page about getting drunk and like holding it to the rev limiter. Like I share that stuff with my friends all the time. But at the end of the day, like publicly showing people beating on rigs, beer cans flopping out and stuff like that. That's how
not a great
that's how
look.
it slows down. And like you was talking about I guess Bureau of Land Management. Like I don't know the whole operation on how King of the Hammers even operates with all that, but those fights that went down this year over some drunk idiots, like I'm sure y'all seen the video of that
Oh
one
yeah,
guy
the
that
guy
was
going backwards, and then the other guy's going the right direction. Yeah.
well, I seen the rig that fell like right on that guy's driver door, and I don't know how
Oh
he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get
yeah.
killed.
That happens
Like,
every year. Every year that
yeah,
happens.
and
There's
it
some idiot.
does, but and it's bad enough that it even happens, but
Yeah.
then it's even worse when it's like publicly blown up, like
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Well, no, when
That's not good for the sport at
when
all.
that's the media that they show of four-wheeling, it's a pretty brutal.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, it
And,
makes everyone look bad,
yeah.
and I'm not, like I said, like I get it. It's you know the memes that they share on like Beat Not Baby and stuff. It's hilarious, and of course you do it on you do that kind of stuff on private land, but when it comes to like
Yeah.
even parks though, really like me and Luke was talking, I guess 2 days ago. I think it's Roush carries a big insurance policy. Like that's why they fight, drinking in your rig and stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, there's so many bad things that could happen. I mean, I've personally, this was 10 years ago. I've seen a guy, I feel bad for that. I kind of feel bad, but I kind of don't. We was at a park that is now shut down. And it was a guy I knew personally. And he was just slam hammered drunk, like just god awful drunk. And he was in a buggy trying to climb this gigantic rock. Like it was like the rock itself was the obstacle. And he was trying to climb up it. Like it was like 3 times the size of his rig. And every time he would go up, he would spin and the whole left side of his rig would just slam into the other side of the rock, and like he would drag it back down and then try it again. And like if he'd had his head in the right place when it slammed, like he could have basically popped his head like a grape between the roll bar and the rock. And
Jeez.
I went and like actually said something to the owner. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be like a snitch, but this guy's going to die if you all keep letting him wheel. Like,
Jesus.
there's
Yeah.
y'all are going to have to like literally kick him out because I can't. He's not going to stop if I go tell him to stop.
See, that's the kind of mindset that I have is like, if you want to have a few trail sodas, fucking go for it. It doesn't bother me any. But if you start trying to, if like unintentionally or intentionally, you start endangering my friends or yourself, I don't want to be around you at that point.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I do not need to see somebody's head explode from fucking bouncing off a rock. I don't need to see somebody run over because they were standing in the wrong spot, regardless if you were whiskey throttling or not. And like I can respect going out and having a good time, but I'm kind of in the same boat. I'd rather go out, have a great time, not worrying about somebody getting fucking alcohol poisoning while they still have their rig 4 hours out into the woods.
Yeah. Once
Well, that was at Harlan, right? Like, I was riding passenger and I got blitzed, but I was riding passenger.
Yeah.
The guy that was driving had probably 2 or 3 beers throughout that whole night until we got back to camp. Didn't stop him from rolling his rig when I convinced him that it was a good idea to hit it in double low, but he was more or less sober when that happened.
Mhm.
I was the drunk idiot there.
Yeah. And
So,
one thing,
the three of us are on the same page as you. Wait, how many of us are there? Just
New
four?
England is pretty strict about the no drinking.
yeah.
So it's just ingrained in us. It's always been our motive. I mean, hell, night wheeling really isn't even a thing here. Harlan was kind of a culture shock for us. We were like, oh shit, people just have coolers full of beer, and you can just go out whatever the fuck you want. It's wild.
Some trails, some systems, which like you said, New England, but like, I know, like, I'm pretty sure Tennessee, Windrock, they do a cooler check before you even go in, I think.
They do.
Yes.
And
You can
and
still
West Virginia,
circumvent it, from what I understand.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I know the Hatfield McCoy system, I mean, they ride the trails actually, like they don't care what you do on the trails as long as you're not drinking. Like they actually have like the sheriff's department, I think. They run side by sides and they're super cool. I would like stop and talk to you, but I mean, if you had some beers up in your, I mean, I guess technically you could probably get a DUI.
Wow.
I mean, but they're not going to be like, oh, you shouldn't climb that. They're not going to, you're on the trail
just there
system.
to
They
make
don't
sure
care.
people are safe and nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that.
exactly.
Not dying.
There's nothing worse
Yeah.
than somebody getting squished or run over in the middle of a trip that's
Yeah,
supposed to
dude.
be fun, right? Like,
Dude, that's somebody that's, hammered drunk. So.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's just like the one bad side I see to.
That's a good point, because I think that gets overblown on social
Yeah.
media. Is that's
Yeah,
like
and
that's the cool thing to do, and I don't think that's majority of the people. Even people
I
posting
don't
that
think
shit,
so
I don't
either.
think that's the case. I think that's just the persona that is cool on social media that everybody just sort of throws up and
Yeah.
oh yeah, look at me, I'm cool. I can get
The
absolutely hammered and wheel
only-
my rig.
The only other thing that I have to say that is, I know I'm not a victim, or maybe I'm a perpetrator of it, but you throw a camera on me and I push the limits of my rig a lot
Oh,
further.
Yeah, you
Same.
want to perform.
Same, I would too. I have.
And it's because it's really funny to see when the JK Club is posting pictures of your XJ flying through the air at Rausch on an
I
obstacle
remember
that they all got denied on.
You got
It's
denied
like,
on
yeah.
it too. Don't even start. You didn't
I
make it
got
up.
denied, but damn, I put on a show.
I have a
It
really
was in
awesome.
style, at least. Yeah.
I have a really awesome story about that. Actually, I do myself like to put on a show at times, and we used to the local Jeep dealership here used to put on a like a Jeep. It was kind of like a really super scaled down version of like All Breeds Jeep show, but super way smaller. And they would have in the fairgrounds, they would have like an obstacle course where everyone could come out and run or whatever. And our club used to help with it. They used to help build it for a good while, and then we got out of it, and they kept doing it for a while after that. But they would build like a big rock section, a small rock section, and then there would be like a mud pit, which some people did or whatever. Well, I would always kind of make a show out of it and do just completely show off, do everything I could, run all the hard stuff, and try to act like it was easy, all kinds of stuff. And I remember I had two buddies in my rig one time, and I told you how my stickies were. Well, actually, this was pre-stickies. I slayed a hub that weekend, and 15 minutes into getting there, and I was like, "This is so stupid." And two of my buddies went around. I'm like, "I can't do anything fun now." I've done because you know how it is. You go 3-wheel drive, and it's like a rock crawler
Oh
falls
yeah,
on
it's
its
just
face.
not the same. You can't. You're basically just done. You're dead in the water.
Yeah, and I would never ever go play in mud for the most part, but I was like, I can't do anything now, so I throw the XJ into the mud pit at I don't know. I just went straight for it, and it died. It fell on its face in the mud pit, and I straight held it wide open to the rev limiter for literally 60 seconds, and it's a wonder we didn't blow up. But there's a fuel line. I guess there's a plastic fuel line on newer XJs that comes down. I think it was supposed to be on the inner fender down to I can't really remember, to be honest with you, but I remember it being there.
The fuel line runs on an XJ from the fuel rail, obviously, down the sort of the inner frame rail the whole way down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, mine had popped loose and was really close to the header, and the Jeep was already overheating at that point, and it was I remember watching the temp gauge max out, and I was like, I don't care, I hope it does blow up, and it just shut off, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I really did just blow it up. It just straight up shut off. Come to find out, it melted that plastic fuel line. It was so close to the header, it was throwing off so much heat.
Oh my
That,
god.
It's a wonder it didn't fuel hit it and it explode and kill us all. But
Holy shit.
Yeah, Luke's got a similar story, but it was a clutch line.
Yeah.
He melted his fucking clutch line, his plastic clutch line. We don't know how. Was it really that close to the header? I guess it is. It runs sort of... No, it runs...
It wasn't even that bad.
No.
And it had been in there for 3 years. I think it just fatigued, and then it was at Rausch, it got dunked, and then it got thrown on the trailer, and then it got pulled out for Harlan, and, not a second thought about it, really.
I keep forgetting you really haven't wheeled in like how long has it been? I mean, Harlan sort of counts. I'm just trying to think. Our Roush trip was no, it was two Roush trips
2020.
ago. You haven't
Yeah,
wheeled
it
in
was
2 years.
2020.
You haven't like actually wheeled in 2 years. That's pretty sad.
So what's like? I've listened to some of the podcasts here and there. Um, what's the real thing holding you up, Luke, from wheeling?
Motivation.
Honestly, no, not even motivation. Um, it was rebuilding the rig, and then I moved, and
Yeah,
then
just
financially recovering from the move.
I got it. Yeah, I understand.
Like
I mean, you only moved what,
1,000 miles, no
1,000
big
miles?
deal.
No big deal.
yeah.
I think
Um,
another thing too is the fact of you didn't have any immediate friends pushing you to come wheel, and I think that might have also gave you a excuse to not to put the money to your savings again instead of to your Jeep. Because I'm sure if let's say you lived in Tennessee and you moved up here and we're like, hey, we're going wheeling this weekend. Hey, we're going wheeling this weekend. You'd be like, nah, I could toss the $300 at this and fix this right now. Or put it in savings that I'm not going to touch in 5 months.
Well,
Fuck it,
I
I'll make another
also
$300.
I went from having a shop to dealing with the
Mhm.
weather too. Like
That's
Yeah.
huge.
one
Yeah.
thing that, I wasn't anticipating in Tennessee is, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but all winter is rain. My entire yard was it was flooded all winter. So I'm not going to go lay on my back and work on the rig in the winter
This is
while
what
my
plywood's
yard's
for.
flooded.
He just thought it was going to be 71 degrees and sunny out the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine working without a garage, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, my garage is not spectacular, but it's a 2-car garage that I've pretty much claimed as mine, like
The
separate
shop,
from my
yeah.
house. So
Yep.
yeah. So we have perfectly nice vehicles sitting outside, and then I have this pile of shit 93 XJ or YJ, and about to start another piece of shit YJ build inside. But
Yeah.
they sit inside all the time, but all the nice
Well,
stuff
the nice
sits
ones
outside.
need to get a little less nice so they can sit outside. That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
It's
My truck won't even fit in the garage. It's too tall. So.
Yeah, and for the first 3 months that I was down here, 4 months that I was down here, my rig was with Graham. So we moved 8 months ago. So for almost half of the time that we've been here, I haven't had the rig. And I've just been slowly plodding through troubleshooting it with the goal of I've got a couple of major trips and networking, so I'm going to get the rig running again for those. Um, and finding people around me to go wheeling with. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm totally down to drive 6 hours. I am not totally down to drive 6 hours to wheel twice a month or 3 times a month. It's finding the local people that you can go and make the hour-and-a-half trip with that make it worth going on the trip.
You may be
Yeah.
in rough shape for that. I mean, I know you're in a pretty good area, from what I understand, with a bunch of parks, but you're not in New England anymore. There's not a private park every hour away from you.
You
unfortunately.
say that though, but
Maybe there
Windrock's
is.
an hour
Who
and a
knows?
half.
I know, this is what I'm saying.
Um,
You're not a great example. Anywhere else in Tennessee, you'd probably
Yeah.
be in a different spot. You wouldn't always have that option, but
Yeah.
But that's
Um,
part of the reason I moved to this part of Tennessee, is it just happened to fall in line with what I wanted.
yep.
And meeting up with the trail trash guys and the way that it just kind of fell into place is going to be great. But right now they're not doing anything that much because Brad's rebuilding his rig. Casey's rebuilding his rig. John's working on his rig. Eddie and Dwight are out there wheeling right now. But this is going to sound bad, but I don't know if I want to just drag the rig out out of the blue to go and wheel with one person that I'm not that familiar with.
Oh, I totally get that.
They're awesome guys, but like if I know that Eddie, Dwight, and Pork Chop are going out, all right, it's a little bit more enticing for me to go for that trip.
He's just trying to say that he really likes Pork Chop XJ. Brad.
And Dwight. Don't forget Dwight.
I mean,
We can't let him down because
I don't know.
he's still
You named Eddie and Dwight, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to only go if it's just Eddie and Dwight. But
no,
Brad
if it was just Eddie or Dwight, because there have been a couple of trips where
They've just
it's
sort of
been
gone
like,
one-on-one.
yeah, Eddie's gone to like a place in Alabama that I've never heard of. I don't know if I want to try and, race to get my rig together, or if I want to go hiking with my friends here that are going hiking that weekend.
I mean that does make all the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
like here, like I said, I'm part of my local club here, and any given trip, you can guarantee there's going to be 5 to even 10 people loading up, trailering together, and going down. Like that's huge motivation right there.
Yeah.
And it's everybody that we know well. I mean, I see your point. I mean,
And like I'm amped for the meet and beat. I've been slowly, I spent the summer playing, or not the summer, but the winter playing with guns because it was just like nasty out. And if you get one good day, it's good for a couple of hours, but the yard still grows. But like now, I've got all the parts I think I need to finish the XJ. I'm waiting for a nice weekend. A friend of mine who moved down here with me asked if I could help him go and buy a Jeep so he could get into wheeling. So like we're taking my truck and we're gonna go and look at a Jeep for him Saturday. So I'm gonna have more people around and like I've been finding my coworkers that yeah, my brother-in-law is into wheeling a lot. I can put you in contact with him and like just slowly moving that up because yeah, he's over at AOP every 2 weekends out of the month or a weekend every month. That makes it a lot more motivating than when you don't know anyone and you're absolutely new.
Yeah.
So
and you'll find that the niche of people who actually are out all the time and are
oh yeah, I mean
doing
you're in
things at the
the
speed that you want to do it, right?
you're in the heart of the southeast more or less. Like you're gonna find people to wheel with. Like
yeah, like Choco's 2.5 hours, AOP's an hour, Windrock is an hour and a half, Harlan's 3 hours.
you can get on like Rock Colored Classified, the East Coast one, and like half of the stuff people are buying or for sale is in East Tennessee or
Yeah,
Kentucky and stuff like that. So
I'm also going to be
it's there.
honest. Another thing is I've started to enjoy the bigger trips a little bit more, but you can't go making a huge trip, 4+ hours away, like I said, every other weekend. It just financially, that's not a good path for me to go down.
I mean, right now, financially, that's not really a good path for anyone to go down because even like a lot of the diehard people in our club right now is like, man, fuel's $5.9. I mean, here diesel's $5.19 a gallon right now. So, that our Windrock trip just turned from my Dodge will get down there and back. Well, went to Harlan and back on. I think I had stopped for fuel in Tennessee, and then that was it. And then, so you might as well say filling up 4 times. I mean, that's almost, what? Probably over $600.
Jeez.
I mean,
sounds about right.
It's insane. So
like I'm planning on going to Pennsylvania, but right now with the cost of fuel for me to go to Pennsylvania, I'm talking about spending over $800 in just gas.
Yep.
And it's a cool thing for me to do, but I gotta plan that in advance before I just go dropping 800, not counting food, not counting the event.
Exactly. It's
No,
it's
no,
definitely
no.
something to think
This
about
is
now.
you get a brand new credit card. I'll load that baby up. There you go.
On that
Get
note,
off when you're old.
Yeah.
on that note, anyone got anything else?
No, I mean he said he doesn't use social media, so we don't really
No.
gotta ask him that question.
You can find him on
I
Jeep
do-
for him.
I do use use it. I still got like Instagram and stuff like that.
All right, so if people who are cool are interested in following you and your build, where can they find you?
Ibjeepin95.
Alrighty, and thank you guys very much for listening. We appreciate every single one of you. If you can, go follow us on Facebook, go follow us on Instagram. We post stuff weekly. We're trying to post a little bit more on Instagram, and especially with wheeling season coming up, you get to see some cool, trip pictures and videos and all sorts of stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Maybe a
don't-
little bit of
don't-
update photos
Oh,
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like, oh, we
Here
get
he
crazy.
goes. He's getting crazy here. You don't even. Is
Oh.
your rig even ready to wheel?
Fuck no, I still
Yeah.
got a seized pulley. It squeals like a
Yeah,
son of a
exactly.
bitch. Doesn't turn
You
like
need the
an
credit
for
card
anything.
too. And on
I
that
need
note,
2 credit cards. Fuck.
yeah, get that new credit card. Get your rig ready for the season, and
Check out the forums. They got a lot of
oh,
cool
yeah,
info.
check out the forums. Make a build thread.
Yeah.